Hi, welcome back guys. This is your sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Naruto Was a Namikaze. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Naruto sat on a building just a block away from the Hokage tower, thinking everything over. So all I have to do is get this scroll, get to the clearing in the forest, and learn a technique from it. Naruto sighed as he got to his feet and stretched his back, feeling the joints pop. Sounds kinda weird, but I guess it makes sense. Naruto jumped from the building and serpentined through the streets to make sure he wasn't spotted. He looked at the large building he hoped to be in control of in the future as Hokage. Sneaking in was a simple task for the blonde academy student. Even though he always wore the orange jumpsuit, he was one of the few people who could hide from 5 squads of a NBU. The only times he had been caught were when Iruka had hunted him down. Naruto walked silently through the halls, heading for the Hokage's office. Occasionally, he would stop and hide from an ANBU guard patrolling the building, but otherwise the place was deserted. Naruto found the door he was searching for and slowly opened it. Once there was enough room to slip into the room, he darted in and shut the door behind him. Naruto looked around the room, recognizing the 4 pictures of the Hokages, past to present, hung on the wall. Next to them was another door. Naruto ran across the room and wrenched the door open. Inside were various scrolls and books. Naruto remembered the description of the target scroll and started searching. There you are. Naruto grinned as he picked up the large scroll and strapped it to his back. He walked out of the room and into the hallway only to come face to face with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Shit, what are you doing in here? The aged Hokage asked. Warok no Jetsu. Naruto looked on in anger at his former sensei Mizuki, who was crawling to his feet. The one that had tricked him, the one that had broken the decree formed for Naruto's protection. He had shattered his whole world, revealing the knowledge of the Kyuubi's incarceration inside Naruto. Then, the worst of it all, he had harmed Iruka-sensei. If you lay one hand on Iruka-sensei, then I'll kill you, Naruto said. Little demon fox, this is what you get. Mizuki screamed as he scrambled to his feet, preparing to attack the young blonde. Naruto quickly formed the one seal required for the jutsu he had just learned. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. What was once one Naruto was now hundreds. Solid copies. He learnt in a high-class jutsu in a few hours and managed to produce this many copies. Amazing, thought the wounded Iruka. Mizuki seemed to be overwhelmed as he looked around him, knowing that all of them were real. Naruto and Iruka were in the Hokage's office, going over what had happened out in the forest. Naruto, I am truly sorry that I've kept this burden of yours a secret from you, but you must understand. Naruto interrupted him with a sad smile. It's okay, Oji-san. I just wish that at least a few people would understand what I really am. That I'm not the Kyuubi. I'm just some orphan that the Yondaime Hokage picked to give this curse to. Sarutobi's heart seemed to break at this. Do you hate him, Naruto? The blonde boy looked up at the aged Hokage and thought for a moment. I understand that he had no choice, and I would have done the same if I was in his position, he replied. Hiruzen looked at the blonde for a moment before speaking. But do you hate him for giving you this burden? Naruto closed his eyes, thinking hard, wondering how he should reply to this question. I don't think I do. Why? I wish it had been someone else, but there probably wasn't any other option. No, I don't hate him. Iruka and Sarutobi looked at each other when he said the last part. But there is something bugging you, Naruto, isn't there? Naruto clenched his fists, wondering what to say at this. I do hate someone though, and I've never even heard of them or met them. The 2 others knew what he was about to say. If my parents had abandoned me for this reason, I would hate them, he said flatly. They didn't abandon you, Naruto, said Hiruzen before he could catch himself. Iruka and Naruto both turned to the Hokage, knowing he knew something. You knew them, didn't you? It was Iruka that asked, before Naruto could. Tell me, please, begged Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't. Why not? Naruto yelled out as he stood up only to be shoved back into his chair by Iruka. Naruto, control yourself, the academy teacher reprimanded. They were all silent for a few minutes, each of them staring at each other. Finally, after about 5 minutes, the Sandaime Hokage spoke. Iruka, could you leave the room for a moment? Iruka looked at the Hokage and nodded. He opened the door and glanced back at his blonde student whom he had given his Hidaite to just hours earlier. Naruto, I don't know if I should be the one to tell you about either of them. The responsibility lies with someone else. Naruto glared for the first time at the aged Hokage. Who would that be? He asked. That responsibility lies with your godfather. Naruto's eyes widened. I have a godfather? He asked in shock. Sarutobi nodded and suddenly, the blonde exploded. Let me guess, he left when he found out about the fox, am I right? He yelled. Before the Hokage could answer, Naruto continued yelling. Then fuck him. I don't want to have anything to do with someone who's going to leave me to rot for something I had no control over. He can burn in hell for all I care. As the last words left his mouth, killer intent knocked Naruto back into his seat. Many times, he had heard that Sarutobi Hiruzen was a force to be reckoned with, but he had never taken it seriously. He was just a kind old man, right? Now he could see why he was the god of shinobi, why he was called the professor, and why he was their 3rd Hokage. Naruto, he did not leave you because of your burden. He left you here because taking you with him would have been reckless and dangerous. He has a duty to this village and he has been performing it. Naruto couldn't form any words at the moment, too scared of the village leader in front of him. The Sandaime lowered the killer intent. and looked upon the small orange jumpsuit wearing genin. Can you at least tell me about my parents? Sarutobi sighed. It couldn't hurt to tell him a little bit. They were strong, especially your father. He was possibly one of the strongest shinobi in the land. The amount of jutsu he knew was astounding, and his knowledge of the battlefield was amazing. He had never really known his own parents, as they had died when he was younger, but he had the will of fire burning brightly within him. He seemed to have inherited his own fierce determination. Naruto smiled at this, not a false smile, but a true one. Then there was your mother, who was one of the most beautiful kunoichi I had ever had the graces of meeting. She was a bit of tomboy and loved pranks, as did your father. She was the troublemaker of the two, however. When she found out about her pregnancy with you, I had never seen her so happy. Naruto had tears in his eyes. So I was wanted. They didn't just toss me aside like some piece of garbage. Oji-san, could you tell me who my father was? He asked. The Hokage shook his head. That responsibility lies with your godfa. Naruto interrupted him at this. I want to find out from you. I've always looked at you as a grandfather, and you're the closest thing I have to a friend. Please. Sarutobi Hiruzen had made many difficult decisions in his past. Not killing Orochimaru, retaking his position as Hokage when the fourth had died, keeping the knowledge of Kyuubi from Naruto, and much more. This, however, was the toughest. If I tell Naruto, I may have to make it public knowledge, and the villagers would be less than accepting. Then there's Danzo, who would want to make the boy into a weapon if he found out, although I suspect he already knows of Naruto's origins. Then there's Iwagakure. If they found out that Minato had a son, they may attempt to hunt him down. But we could protect him from that. If his lineage is revealed, he could move into the Namikaze estate, and we could reactivate all the protection seals. Jiraiya would probably come back to the village as well when he finds out that Naruto knows. The debate raged on in the mind of the Hokage as Naruto sat on the edge of his seat with bated breath. His name was Namikaze Minato. Our Yondaime Hokage. Naruto's eyes widened at this. The fourth. He asked. Hiruzen nodded as he rose to his feet. I didn't intend on you finding out for many years, if ever, but if the occasion ever arose, I thought that maybe you would like something of his, he said as he approached the picture of the blonde Hokage. He took the framed photograph down to reveal a paper seal on the wall behind it. He placed his hand on top of it and let his chakra flow into the kanji written on the paper. The spot glowed for a moment and released a plume of smoke. When the smoke cleared, Sarutobi Hiruzen held several scrolls. These are notes on some of your father's jutsu, and a few of these are storage scrolls. In them are more scrolls containing different kinds of ninjutsu and taijutsu. He never was one to rely on jinjutsu. Naruto was tearing up again when he noticed one more thing draped over the Hokage's shoulder. What's that, Oji-san? Hiruzen smiled at this. This was the coat your father wore constantly. It was probably his favorite piece of clothing, especially after he became Hokage. Sarutobi set down the scrolls on his desk and took the coat that was draped over his shoulder and presented it to Naruto. I don't think it fits, but if you like, we can always get it resized and... Now Naruto interrupted as he gazed at his father's coat. I think I would rather not change this specific coat. Maybe I could just get one made for me, but I would rather not change anything on this one. The Hokage smiled. If you would like, you could also have access to the money he left you. It wasn't as much as the wealth of the Hyuga or the Uchiha, but he did have a fair amount of wealth that he left you when he died. Naruto continued to stare at the coat in amazement. I regret not living up to what my father probably expected of me, Naruto said suddenly. Sarutobi lifted an eyebrow at this. From here on out, I promise to train myself so that I can surpass not only the Hokages, but my father. Sarutobi smiled at this. Those scrolls will help you quite a bit, I would assume. Naruto nodded. Can I tell anyone? He asked suddenly. I don't want to be known as the fatherless orphan any longer. Naruto looked up at the Hokage to see a stern look on his face. Naruto, I'm not going to lie to you. Many people respected and even loved the Yondaime Hokage, and many see you as the reason for his death. If we were to tell them suddenly that you were his son all along, many wouldn't believe me, and they would disregard it. So I guess I'm not allowed to wear this jacket. Sarutobi smiled at Naruto. You may wear the jacket, Naruto. Not many people will remember it very well, and only those that were close to Minato would notice, and I doubt very much that they would mind. For now, keep this knowledge to yourself, but later on, I will inform the village of your lineage. You just have to give me some time to prepare it, and I will need at least a few months. Perhaps by the time the Chunin exams start. Naruto nodded. Can I at least tell Iruka-sensei? He's helped me so much, and I want him to know. The Sandaime thought for a moment before answering. Iruka is a trustworthy person, so I don't see why not. Naruto suddenly hugged the aged Hokage. Thank you, Oji-san. Thank you so much. The Sandaime nodded. I want to hear about my mother as well, but let's let Iruka back in and catch him up, Naruto said as he ran to the door, not giving the Hokage a chance to say no. Iruka had to sit down when the bombshell had been dropped. Uzumaki Naruto, the Jinchuriki of the fearsome Kyuubi no Kitsune, was also the son of the Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Naruto. Does this mean that you'll be going by Namikaze Naruto instead of Uzumaki? He asked Naruto. Naruto looked at the Hokage for an answer to this. Not straight away. When I reveal the news to the rest of the village, then yes, but until then, you will continue on with your mother's name. What was her name? Naruto asked suddenly. Uzumaki Kushina. Sarutobi replied, raising a gasp out of Iruka. Kushina really is his mother. I thought she just gave the boy her name because she thought he was cute. Sarutobi chuckled. That was the only excuse she would use for that. I still don't understand why. Is she alive? Naruto asked. Sarutobi shook his head, causing Naruto to drop his. I'm sorry, Naruto, Iruka said, patting him on the shoulder. It's okay. At least I know now that I wasn't just abandoned. Naruto, it's been a long day, so how about this? You go home and sleep, and tomorrow we'll catch up on the smaller details. Sound good? The Sandem asked. Naruto nodded. That's fine. Iruka walked Naruto to the rundown section of the village where Naruto's apartment lay. I'll be accompanying you in the Hokage tomorrow, he said to the blonde. Thank you, Iruka-sensei. It's no problem, Naruto. You should probably get to bed though, it's been a long day and you found out so much. Naruto nodded. Yeah, it has. He could already feel the events of today taking its toll as he started up the stairs to his door. Bye, Iruka-sensei. Goodbye, Naruto. When Naruto made it into his small apartment, he immediately walked up to his rundown mattress and fell on top of it, asleep. Naruto woke up to what appeared to be a tapping noise. Not feeling like opening his eyes, he merely groaned and turned over so that his face was in the pillow. That's when the events of the day before caught up to him. I am the Kyuubi container and my father is the man that sealed it inside of me, who also happens to be my hero. He shot out of bed to see Iruka standing in his doorway, tapping his foot on the ground. It's nearly noon, Naruto. Naruto paled. It is, Suo, yesterday really did happen. Iruka simply nodded. Wow, for a moment, I thought it was all a dream. Well, it wasn't. Now come on, the Hokage is waiting downstairs for you. Naruto nodded and was about to go get dressed when he realized he had fallen asleep in all of his clothes, including his sandals. They got to the bottom to find the Hokage smiling at them. Naruto, I remembered you saying that you wished to surpass your father, so I figured that maybe Iruka and I could help you get started. Naruto didn't move, still taking everything in. How will we do that? He finally asked. Iruka looked Naruto up and down. First off, we need to get you some new clothes. I know you like the color orange, but it's too bright. It makes you an easy target for enemies. Naruto pouted. Naruto, I know you like attention, but wearing an orange jumpsuit attracts negative attention, which isn't what you should be striving for, the Hokage lectured. Also, your kunai and shuriken are all dull and rusting, so we'll be getting you some more of those along with a few explosive tags. Iruka said as he recalled all the times Naruto used his equipment in class. Books on basic chakra control are required as well, and books on the history of Konohagakure. But that stuff is boring. Naruto whined. Iruka scowled at his one-time student. Naruto, these things are necessary for a ninja to know, especially for a ninja that wishes to become a Hokage. I doubt that my father had to do this, Naruto said, still pouting. Ah, but you're wrong, Naruto, he did have to do this stuff. It's required for a Hokage to know. Not only is the Hokage the ruler of the village, but he is a diplomat. He must know things that many do not. Naruto said nothing, but both Iruka and Hiruzen knew that he would read the books now. Some books on proper etiquette would be a plus as well as grammar. Iruka commented as he recalled more of Naruto's behavior in the academy. Naruto could only huff as the list went on and on. Okay, I'm coming out now. Naruto called out from the dressing rooms at the Shinobi clothing store. Iruka and Sarutobi turned to see the blonde genin walk out in his new outfit. They both grinned at how Naruto looked. He had black Shinobi sandals on instead of his blue ones. He had the fingerless Shinobi gloves on, with the metal plates engraved with the leaf symbol. The Hide had the blue cloth removed and replaced with black. His pants were black and ended at his ankle. There were only 2 pockets at the front. His kunai holster was new as well, being black in color and strapped to his right thigh. He had an orange sash and a black long-sleeved shirt, but what caught their eyes was the jacket he was wearing. They had recreated the jacket Naruto's father had taken to wearing for Naruto. Instead of it being white or red, it was red with black flames at the bottom. Not bad, Naruto. Not bad at all, Iruka said as he inspected Naruto. Why did you alter the colors for the jacket though? Sarutobi asked. I'm not good enough to wear my father's jacket, so I figured a change would be best for now. The Hokage nodded, smiling to himself. He wants to earn that right. He's a lot like his father. How do you feel, Naruto? Iruka asked. Pretty good actually. I'm just glad you guys let me keep a bit of orange on. Iruka and Sarutobi sighed. There was just no getting rid of that color. I have a question though. How am I going to pay for all of this? Sarutobi just smiled at the boy. Think of this as a grandfather spoiling his grandson. I owe you a lot for what I kept from you. You seem so happy knowing the truth. But I don't think Naruto, please just take my gift. Sarutobi asked. Naruto stared at the Hokage for a moment before speaking. I guess I can do that. Thank you, Naruto. No, Oji-san. Thank you. They bought the outfit, along with copies, so that Naruto wouldn't have to constantly wash the same one over and over. They also bought a few training outfits for Naruto to use when he would train alone. They went on to a weapon store and bought new kunai and shuriken for the genin, which seemed to excite him. It was only a quick stop there before the shop Naruto had been dreading, the bookstore. They spent a lot of time there, hunting down the multitude of books that Naruto was going to have to start reading. chakra control exercises and theories, proper dieting, proper etiquette, food preparation, books about different plants and their usage, histories of the shinobi world including a few books about Konohagakure alone. Naruto saw a few scrolls that seemed to pique his interest on advanced chakra control exercises, although he was told that he would learn them with his new instructor. So when do I meet this new instructor? Naruto asked as they left the store and started walking to his house to drop off his stuff. 3 weeks from Monday, you'll be assigned to a genin squad and given a jonin instructor to help guide you and take you on missions. Naruto seemed torn for a moment. What's wrong, Naruto? Haruka asked when he noticed Naruto's conflicting thoughts. Well, what if this new guy just focuses on the others and leaves me in the dust? I mean, he would know about. At this, Naruto looked down at his stomach. Naruto, if that does happen, I want you to report it to me straight away, is that understood? The Hokage ordered. Naruto nodded. I don't want to cause any trouble though. Naruto, the troubling thing is if they do discriminate against you and hinder your progress, said Haruka. I know it happened in the academy before I became your teacher, and I tried to help you out, but the damage was done. If your jonin instructor does that to you, then they shouldn't even be a jonin. Naruto nodded as he continued down the street. So I have 3 weeks to improve my skills before meeting my new team. That's right, Naruto. Plenty of time to catch up or even surpass most of the graduating class if last night says anything. Sarutobi exclaimed happily. What do you mean? Naruto asked in confusion. Naruto, the Kage Bunshin technique is a jonin level ninjutsu. Not only that, but it's also a forbidden technique because it splits your chakra evenly. You managed to not only perfect the technique in a few hours, but you made hundreds of them perfectly. Add to the fact that you had been training yourself to get that technique down for at least 2 straight hours. You were pretty much unfazed by the amount of Bunshin you had produced. You could easily surpass all of the Hokages. Not even I could do what you had done. Haruka and Naruto seemed surprised by this fact. Naruto, there is also a way you can train even faster with the technique that you learnt. This again surprised Haruka and Naruto. What is it? Haruka asked, suddenly curious. With the Kage Bunshin technique, anything the clone learns will be transferred to the user upon it being dispelled. Haruka raised both eyebrows at this. What's so special about that? Naruto asked, not really catching on. Naruto, if your Bunshin were to read a book, when you dispelled it, you would remember anything it had read. Naruto thought for a moment when it suddenly dawned on him. I could read the books without actually having to read them. Sarutobi seemed to be thinking as well. With the amount of clones he could make, he could easily get his chakra control to the level of a chunin within the next 3 weeks. If he were to also work on katas just to see how they work. Naruto, you truly are on the way to becoming an amazing shinobi. Naruto was already scheming on how to use this to his advantage. They made it to his apartment. Now Naruto, I bought these for you as well, Haruka said. He reached into a bag to present 4 weights, to be worn on his arms and legs. With these weights on, you'll increase your strength and speed by just walking around in them doing day-to-day things. You should also wear them for training, of course. Naruto beamed and immediately set down his bags and started to put them on. They're adjustable, just put a bit of chakra into them and they'll get heavier. Naruto did as instructed as he thought they were a bit light. It took a moment for the weights to adjust to the chakra, but when they did, Naruto groaned slightly. Whoa, that's heavy. He could still walk but with quite a bit of effort. Lifting his arms was also a chore, but he guessed he could get used to it. Naruto, if I were you I wouldn't take those off too often. The Kyuubi is constantly healing your body, so I think you would get more out of it if you wore those weights constantly. You'll probably be used to the current weight by the end of the week, the Hokage advised. Naruto nodded as he looked at the stairs he had to climb with the weights on. Damn it, this is going to be harder than I thought. He took a breath and started trudging up the stairs to get to his door. Naruto, I expect to see you in a few days to get your photo for your ninja license, the Hokage called after him. Yeah, I'll do that. Naruto was sitting on the roof of his apartment, looking at the Hokage monument. It's been nearly a week wearing these things, and I can finally jump from building to building. He thought tiredly. He glanced down and watched people walking through the streets. He noticed a head of pink hair and blushed. There's Sakura-chan. Man, why does she have to be so in love with Sasuke? He glanced back at the mountain where 4 faces were carved. I bet you never had to deal with that kind of stuff, did you? He said to his father's face. What would he do in this situation? Naruto asked himself. He would probably just recognize it as a lost cause. I mean, I like her and all, but she hits me too often and she's really bossy. Then she isn't really that great of a kunoichi either. Sure, she's smart, but what the hell? Plus, she isn't the nicest person around. Hell, Ino's kinder than Sakura. She treats Choji and Shikamaru with some respect, even if she is head over heels in love with Sasuke. Sakura treats all the other guys like obstacles in her way. Naruto sighed as he went back into his one-room apartment via a window. He looked around and picked up a book. Which chakra control exercise do I move on to now? I finally got those leaf exercises done. Tree climbing. How the hell does that help chakra control? He asked himself before continuing on. Naruto continued to read the page and reread it to make sure he had it all memorized. He set the book down and walked out the door, leaving his new jacket at home, but the rest of his attire on. He walked through the streets, ignoring the glares and the new looks of confusion. He knew what the confused looks were for. Everybody had heard of his failure in the academy, and yet he still had received a hit. Not only that, but he hadn't pulled a prank on anyone in 5 to 6 days. It was a new record. Naruto had been surprised by the new looks, but quickly gotten sick of them. It was just like he had been told not long ago. He should be aiming for positive attention, not negative. Although, confusion was kind of neutral, wasn't it? What the hell am I thinking about this for? I should be focused on how to do this tree climbing thing. Half an hour later, Naruto was in the same clearing he had been in when he had learnt the cage bunshin technique. He had taken a liking to this spot, as it was secluded and he hadn't seen anyone out here before. Naruto took out one of his kunai, just as the book had advised for marking his progress, and focused chakra into the soles of his feet. He ran towards the tree and placed his foot on the bark. He attempted to place his other foot on the tree but slipped off and hit the ground, hard. Damn weights, thought Naruto. He got up and looked around the clearing. May as well try. He made the familiar cross with his fingers and shouted, "Kage bunshin no jutsu." At least 20 other Narutos appeared. "You know what to do," he ordered. "Hi," the bunshin replied before picking a tree and starting their exercise. Naruto turned to face his own tree and glared at it. "I will get this exercise done by dawn." Naruto charged up his feet with chakra and ran at the tree yet again. When he set his foot on the tree, the bark seemed to explode and throw Naruto away from it. "I think I get it. Too much, you're pushed away, too little, nothing happens." Naruto concentrated for a few minutes this time, trying to get the proper amount of chakra concentrated. He kept waiting as the clones around him had varying results, but he didn't pay them any attention. "No," he thought as his eyes snapped open. He ran at the tree, fast, needing to get up the tree. First 1 step, 2, 3. He was actually running up the tree. Then, he lost his concentration. He slashed at the tree, marking where he had gotten, and fell back down. Naruto landed on the ground and looked up. 10 feet, maybe 9. Naruto sighed. At least it's progress. What's it saying? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Naruto sighed as he stood back up. Back to the grind, he muttered to himself. Naruto was having a pleasant dream, involving him standing on top of a tree, in the Hokage's robes, when he felt something poking his side. "Stop that," he mumbled out as he turned onto his side. "Guy-sensei, he seems to be alive." Naruto gritted his teeth. Why is someone so loud this early in the morning? Naruto opened his eyes only for him to shut them again and reopen them. "Those are some serious eyebrows this guy has." "Hello there, my youthful friend," said the boy looming over him. Naruto stood up quickly and looked the newcomer up and down. The boy was taller than Naruto, which wasn't that hard to be, and seemed to be wearing a green leotard. On his legs were orange leg warmers, and on his arms were wrappings, covering his forearms up to his knuckles. "My name is Rock Lee, and you are?" Naruto continued to inspect Rock Lee. His eyebrows seemed to be very large, the largest he had ever seen. His hair was in a bowl-cut style, and his eyes seemed to be large and full of a word Naruto would come to fear. "Youth, my name is Uzumaki Naruto." I nearly said Namikaze. I need to stop practicing saying that in the mirror. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Naruto-san." Naruto nodded when he noticed that there was someone behind Lee. "Hello there, Naruto, my name is Mato Guy." Naruto was glad that he had been practicing hiding his emotions all his life and for the book on proper etiquette, otherwise he would have been very rude. "Holy shit, those eyebrows are fucking huge. What are these guys?" The Wonder Twins. Mato Guy seemed to be wearing nearly the exact same outfit as Lee. There were only a few differences. Guy didn't have any wrappings on his arms and was also wearing a flak vest. His facial structure seemed to be stronger and his eyes weren't as wide, but were just as youthful. "So why are you out here on such a youthful morning, Naruto-san?" Lee inquired. "Oh, I was out here training last night and I guess I just pushed myself too hard." "What were you working on?" Guy asked. "Tree climbing exercise. I think I have it down. I probably would if I wasn't wearing these damn weights." Naruto mumbled the last part, but Guy and Lee both heard it clearly. "You are wearing weights?" they both asked. Naruto nodded. "Yeah, it's pretty cool, but I've only been wearing them for about 6 days, but I'm starting to get used to them." "May we see your weights, Naruto-san?" Guy asked immediately. Sure, I guess." Naruto took off all 4 of his weights and handed them to Guy. They aren't too heavy, but he just started wearing them and they seem to be heavier than when I got Lee his first set of weights. They're adjustable, which is good. Not too bad. Have you had to readjust these recently?" Guy asked. Twice. Once when I first got them, then just yesterday. I get used to them pretty quickly." Guy nodded. "It's the Kyuubi. I had heard that Uzumaki Naruto had been gifted with a healing ability by having the Kyuubi inside of him. I guess it's true. He's getting used to the weights because his muscles are constantly healing and adjusting, meaning he's getting stronger every second. In a few months, he could be as fast as Lee." "I have to say there, Naruto-kun," Guy said, taking no notice of Naruto's reaction to the added honorific. "It's fantastic that I've met another youthful genin that is using weights. The only other one being Lee here." "Really?" Naruto exclaimed. "That's awesome. How heavy are yours?" he asked the green-clad genin. "That is a good question, Naruto-kun," Lee said, also taking no notice of Naruto's reaction to the honorific. "I've been wearing them for a year now, so they are quite heavy." "Wow, I'll bet," Naruto said, his jaw feeling slightly lax. Guy smiled at the blonde. "Tell you what, Naruto, how would you like to train with Lee and I? We could always use another training partner. What kind of taijutsu do you use?" Naruto looked away from Guy for a moment before answering, feeling ashamed. I don't have any style. I was never taught one. I remembered hearing that Naruto wasn't the Academy's favorite student, but not being taught even the Academy-style taijutsu. Tell you what, Naruto, how about Lee and I teach you our style? It's called the Goken style. It relies on speed and strength and is one of the greatest styles a man could want. What do you say? I asked as he gave a thumbs up and a sparkling smile. Yeah, sure, that would be awesome. This will be great, Naruto-kun. I have not had a training partner in taijutsu, so this will be new for both of us. Lee exclaimed as he too gave Naruto a thumbs up. Yeah, this'll be fun. Naruto arrived at his apartment after learning when and where to meet Guy and Lee the next day. Unfortunately for him, he had gotten an eyeful of what seemed to be a horrible genjutsu that is activated by the two green-clad shinobi hugging. Naruto was sure to have nightmares of the two later that night. He quickly undressed and went to take a shower in the bathroom. He threw on his weights and a clean outfit and jumped out his window, forgetting that he had put his weights on. The result felt painful, and the ground underneath him had cracked slightly, but he was in too much pain to notice. Fucking weights. I'm not doing that again anytime soon. Fuck. Did I break any bones? Fuck. Naruto seemed to be cradling his legs for a few minutes as people looked on in confusion and anger at the loud genin. Finally, when the pain had dissipated, Naruto got back onto his feet and slowly walked to the Hokage tower where he had to have his photo taken and submitted along with his information. Too bad I didn't have time to do anything cool with face paint. That would have been cool, but probably not very shinobi-like. Meh, at least I look good in these clothes. Naruto sighed as he walked through the village, looked from building to building. It's a nice day, that's for sure. Then again, when isn't it a nice day in Konoha? We hardly ever get snow, and it rains once in a while. It'll be nice to get missions outside of the village, get some variety and all. Naruto grinned to himself. Gotta love Kage Bunchin, he said, drawing a few curious looks from shinobi he was passing by. My vocabulary is getting better. I guess reading isn't all that bad, especially when it's my clones that are doing it instead of me. He made it to the tower and entered it quickly, thankful that it wasn't too busy today as it had been on some days quite frequently. He made his way to the proper floor and opened another door. Hi, I'm here to get my photo taken for ninja registration, he said politely to the receptionist at the desk. The woman at the desk didn't even bother looking up. Uzumaki Naruto, she asked. Yeah, you were supposed to be here 5 minutes ago. Go to the roof, that's where they're taking the photos. Okay, thanks, whatever, the receptionist said. Wow, what a bitch, thought Naruto as he scowled at her before leaving the room and heading up further. He made it to the roof to see a middle-aged man wearing glasses waiting with a large camera. It's about time you made it, Uzumaki, I've been waiting here for hours. Liar, I'm 5 minutes late. Naruto shrugged and walked over to the spot marked with an X. I'm guessing I stand here, he asked. The man glared at Naruto before speaking. Don't get sarcastic with me, Gaki. Now hold still while I take the picture. Naruto rolled his eyes and waited. Another thing I should thank books for. Patience. A few minutes later, Naruto grinned for the camera and told to go to the Hokage's office. Naruto yawned as he walked down and almost didn't notice when he bumped into someone. Sorry, Naruto apologized as he turned to face the person he had bumped into. Naruto, Shikamaru, why are you wearing a Hidayate? Scratch that, why aren't you wearing your orange jumpsuit? Not that I'm complaining or anything. Naruto grinned at him. I passed the exams. Plus, I thought it was time for a change. Shikamaru grinned. Man, you look a lot like the Yondaime Hokage with those duds. Shikamaru noticed the gleam in Naruto's eyes when he mentioned this. Interesting. Really? I didn't notice. Anyways, I'm in a real hurry. I have to go down to Oji-san's office to fill out some crap. See you in a few weeks, Shikamaru. With that, Naruto turned around and walked away. He seems to be straining a bit more with walking. And he seems taller. Naruto continued on towards the Hokage's office and bumped into another person. This time, it was a man. Sorry, sir. I wasn't paying attention to where I was going. It's all right. Naruto looked at the man and was slightly amused. What kind of guy wears a mask and has his Hidayate so you can only see his right eye? The man seemed to be wearing standard Jonin attire, with his Hidayate slanted over his left eye and a mask covering all but his right eye. His silver hair seemed to defy gravity and pull to the left. He seemed to be holding an orange book titled Ika Paradise. Aren't you Uzumaki Naruto? The man asked suddenly. I am. Who are you? He retorted. Hadate Kakashi. He seemed to be dressed differently than usual. Naruto didn't find this surprising at all as most people had seen him either performing a prank or running from ANBU all over the village. Felt like it was time for a change, Naruto said. Kakashi eyed him for a bit longer before shrugging. Sometimes, change is a great thing. With that said, he started to walk past Naruto. Don't I get one? Naruto asked. Get what? Kakashi asked as he started to read his book. An apology. You seem to have been reading a book and you bumped into me. Don't I get an apology? Kakashi looked at him before closing his eye, which resembled a U, meaning he was smiling. You already admitted to bumping into me and you apologized, meaning I don't have to. But if it will make you feel better, then I'm sorry for bumping into you. Naruto grinned at Kakashi before continuing on. Nice to finally meet you, Naruto. Kakashi whispered to himself before vanishing in a flurry of wind and leaves. Naruto finally made it to the Hokage's office and trudged in. The Sandaime Hokage smiled at Naruto while his two advisors, Koharu and Himura, gave him blank looks. "How has everything been, Naruto?" the Sandaime asked as he set down the photo he had just received of said shinobi. "It's awesome. I'm getting stronger already. I've been working on that tree climbing exercise and I think I'm ready to move on to the next step." A Hokage raised an eyebrow at this, as did his two advisors. "Really? Would you care to show us?" It wasn't Hiruzen that had asked, but Koharu. Sure." Naruto was taken aback that the old lady had taken an interest in him at all. He walked up to a wall and focused his chakra and began to climb the wall, up to the ceiling, and started walking across the ceiling as if it were the floor. "How long have you been practicing this technique?" Sarutobi asked the blonde genin. "I started this one last night. Took me all night, but I got it down finally, especially after I used the Kage Bunshin to help learn it." Suddenly, Koharu and Himura were whispering to each other while the Hokage beamed with pride. "That's quite an amazing feat, Naruto, especially for someone with your chakra capacity." Naruto chuckled and rubbed the back of his head nervously. "Thanks, but it was really hard and I didn't take any breaks." Sarutobi nodded. He definitely inherited Minato's drive. He looked down at the photo and the papers that had all of Naruto's information. "Well, Naruto, I think everything is ready. So all you have to do now is wait another 2 weeks and then you'll attend the academy one last time for team assignments." Naruto beamed at this. "That's great, Oji-san. I'll just..." Naruto was interrupted by the door opening suddenly and Blur entering the room. "On guard, old man," came the voice of a small boy. "Not this again," thought the aged Hokage. The Blur suddenly tripped over its own feet and fell to the ground. "This is a trap, right?" It was a small boy, was wearing what seemed to be a large scarf, shorts and a shirt with a cap over his hair. "You," he shouted while pointing at Naruto. "You made me trip." Naruto clenched his fist in anger. Before anyone could react, he held up the boy by the collar, ready to deck him. Once again, the door opened to reveal a man in a black bodysuit, a black bandana and sunglasses. "Naruto, unhand the honorable grandson this instant." Naruto glanced at the man before looking back at the boy. "That boy is our Hokage's grandson, Konohamaru." At this, Konohamaru grinned at Naruto. "Go ahead, hit me if you dare. This is how it always is. Once they find out who my grandfather is, they all..." He didn't get time to finish his thought as he felt Naruto's fist impact on his skull. "I couldn't care less whose grandson you are. You're still a brat." With that said, Naruto shoved past the man in the black bodysuit and stormed out of the building. The man, also known as Abisu, watched the Kyuubi Jinchuriki storm off and muttered to himself. "So that is the demon. Most interesting type of clothing he has now." Abisu rounded upon his student Konohamaru to find that. Where did the honorable grandson go? Naruto was starting to get pissed off, plain and simple. Not only did he have to deal with someone who he knew judged him for the fox, but the Hokage's grandson was stalking him, and wasn't doing a good job of keeping out of sight. Naruto stopped walking, letting his anger get the better of him and whirled around, pointing at the poorly disguised academy student. "Listen, I don't know what you want and I really don't care, just stop following me." Konohamaru lowered the cloth that was painted to look like a fence and chuckled. "So you noticed me following you, the stories don't lie." Naruto stared blankly at the kid before whirling around and walking away. "Get lost, kid." Konohamaru ran past Naruto and blocked his path. "No, I need you to teach me that Warok no Jutsu so I can beat the old man and take over as Hokage." Naruto stared at the kid for a moment before busting out laughing. Yahaha, that's good, kid. Believe me, if that was all that was needed to become Hokage, I'd be the goddamn Hokage right now. Please," Konohamaru begged. "I'll do anything to learn that awesome move." Naruto looked at the boy who was on his knees now. "Why not? It'll help kill some time. I'll just have some Kage Bunshin, head home and read up on a few things." Naruto made a cross shape with his hands and 6 Bunshin appeared. "You guys go home and pick something to read." The Bunshin all saluted the original and ran off towards their apartment. Konohamaru looked on in awe at his new idol. "Come on, what was your name again, kid?" Naruto asked in confusion. "Konohamaru," he exclaimed eagerly. "All right, let's go and train. Warok no Jutsu." Konohamaru disappeared in a plume of smoke only to reveal a fat, grotesque, possibly female version of him. "Wrong," Naruto said flatly. "It's been 4 hours and you keep doing the same thing." "Look." Naruto formed the ram seal and in another plume of smoke, Naruto disappeared only to reappear as a nude, beautiful blonde teenage girl with what seemed to be at least a D cup. Like this, she said to the boy. Another puff of smoke and Naruto was back to his original self. "Keep trying." Naruto had just gone to relieve himself behind a tree when he heard Konohamaru. "Boss, I think I did it. Come back and see." Naruto sighed. He better have. It's been 8 hours since we started. Naruto reappeared to see Konohamaru forming the ram seal. "Warok no Jutsu." A puff of smoke later and there stood a beautiful, slender, well-endowed, brunette girl. "Well?" she asked. Naruto grinned and gave him a thumbs up. "It's about time too." Konohamaru reappeared with a huge smile on his face. "Now I can become Hokage," he exclaimed. "That's a load of crap," Naruto said, frowning at the young boy. "Huh, what do you mean?" "I'm on the shortcut to becoming Hokage," he said innocently. Naruto clenched his teeth and resisted the urge to smack the boy. "There aren't any shortcuts to becoming Hokage, you twerp. The only way to become this village leader is through hard work. Nothing else. There you are, honorable grandson. came Abisu's voice. Naruto and Konohamaru looked up to see the Jonin looking down at them from the trees. Damn demon. That same damn look. Always because of the fucking fox. Abisu jumped down from the trees and started walking towards Konohamaru. Come now, Konohamaru, if you associate with people such as this, it will cause difficulties on your shortcut to becoming Hokage. Naruto had had enough of the shortcut talk and the glares and did the one thing he knew would work, but Konohamaru was already on it. Warok no Jutsu. Abisu stared and stared. Such a thing is unbecoming of me. Stop this foolishness, honorable grandson, and let's go. Konohamaru deactivated the jutsu in confusion. Why didn't it work? That's a killer technique. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The clearing was suddenly full of Narutos. Abisu merely grinned at this. Such a trick may have overwhelmed a feeble-minded fool such as Mizuki, but that shall not work on me. Then he noticed that they all were forming the ram seal. Naruto grinned. Game over. Harem no Jutsu. The Naruto clones suddenly were dozens of beautiful women, all swooning over Abisu, and unsurprisingly, naked. It took a moment for Abisu's mind to process what was happening, and when it did, it overloaded, and Abisu was tossed back from the force of blood pouring out of his nose. The clones all disappeared, leaving a grinning Naruto, a shocked Konohamaru, and an unconscious Abisu left in the clearing. Like I said, there are no shortcuts to becoming Hokage. Naruto turned to Konohamaru and stared at him. You may want to become Hokage one day, but in order to do that, you're gonna have to take that title from me. I will be Hokage on day, he said with such force. Konohamaru was reminded of his grandfather. In his office, Saruto by Hiruzen watched through his crystal ball, smiling serenely at the young blonde. There is no doubt in my mind that you will be Hokage, Naruto. Naruto dispelled his clones as he walked into his crammed apartment room. He sat down on his bed and kicked off his sandals, sorting through the memories of what his Bunshin had read. Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama founded this village, fought each other, could control Biju, tailed beasts, would release. On and on the knowledge continued to pour into his skull, all about the history of Konohagakure. Ugh, history lessons. Naruto sighed and looked out the window at the setting sun, casting an orange glow on the village. Naruto sighed and got back up, knowing that he still had to continue training for a few more hours before he went back to bed. 2 more weeks to catch up. Maybe I can master the regular Bunshin jutsu. But why would I want to? Naruto pushed these thoughts away and grabbed a scroll that his father had left him and headed out to the clearing he trained in. Naruto sat down at the base of a tree that he had clearly used for the tree climbing exercise, as there were kunai slashes straight up the tree. There was enough light left that Naruto could still read what jutsu he was going to attempt to learn. A water technique. No hand seals. Nice. Suten, Hahanryu. Naruto looked up to see that there wasn't any water source around, which seemed to be recommended when first learning the jutsu. Well, from what I remember, Naruto mumbled to himself as he pocketed the scroll and took to the tree branches. Not too far from here. There. He rocketed through the trees, his weights helping him move faster with momentum. He found the river he was looking for and tried landing just on the bank but overshot. Fuck, With a loud splash, Naruto landed in what seemed to be the deepest part of the river, his weights dragging him down. Fuck, gotta kick hard to get to the surface, he thought frantically. After a few seconds of slowly ascending, his legs started to cramp up. So close, come on. Naruto broke the surface of the water and took in a quick breath of air before going back under. Okay, now to get to the river bank. Come on, Naruto. You can't just drown here. Naruto could feel himself inching his way to the shallower parts of the river, but it was slow progress, and he seemed to be sinking as well. Wait, I see the bottom. Naruto looked up to see that the surface wasn't too far. All I have to do is hold my breath a bit longer. He hit the bottom and immediately started to walk along the bottom. I could always take these weights off, but what would Lee and Guy say? He felt the pain in his lungs, signaling that he needed air, and soon. He kept up the hard work and continued to slowly walk along through the cool water. His lungs were screaming at him and he was starting to feel lightheaded now. Just a bit further, he yelled at himself mentally. Finally, his head emerged from the water, cool air greeting his scalp. Naruto jumped up, far enough to get his entire head above the water to get another breath of air before going back under and continuing forward. 1 minute later, he was on the ground, wheezing, enjoying the air that he took for granted. I'm never doing that again, he wheezed out. He took his coat off along with his black shirt, leaving him clad only in his pants. He dug through the coat's pockets and pulled out the scroll the jutsu was written on. Alright, let's get to work on this, shall we? Naruto woke up in his bed, wishing he hadn't agreed the day before to start training with the youthful duo. He pulled on his training clothes, which consisted of a plain black gi. He popped his neck and walked out of his apartment and walked down the stairs. On the street, Guy and Lee were already waiting for him. Naruto-kun, you are early. I take it that you are ready then? Guy asked him enthusiastically. Naruto could only nod, not feeling like talking this early in the morning. Alright, a light jog around the village to warm us up. With that said, Guy and Lee took off at high speeds down the street, heading for the outer wall. Light jog. They're running at the speed of light. Naruto started to run after them, attempting to catch up with the two energetic shinobi. Naruto found out that a light jog for Guy and Lee was 20 laps around the entire village at speeds that seemed inhuman. Afterwards, it was to the training grounds for some sparring. or it would have been if Naruto had known any type of taijutsu. Alright Naruto, today we'll start on some of the basic forms for the Goken style of taijutsu. Just copy Lee's poses and I shall correct you when needed. It was then that Naruto first started to realize just how much he had missed out on in the academy. Both thanks to previous teachers that ignored him, to him constantly skipping out on school when he had Iruka as a sensei. I'm such a loser, Naruto thought as he was corrected by Guy for the 100th time. For what must have been hours, Lee and Guy had Naruto go through the rigorous poses over and over until they felt that he was starting to get the hang of things. I'll say this much Naruto. In a way, it is a blessing that you weren't taught any form of taijutsu. Naruto looked at Guy as if he were insane. He probably is though, Naruto thought. If you had been taught any other type of taijutsu, you would be having a much tougher time as you would get katas from this style and the other style confused, which could end up costing you your life in a mission. However, this way, you shall only remember the katas for this style, meaning you could perform it perfectly one day to an extent that could surpass Lee or even myself. I must say that I am slightly jealous of you. Lee could only nod in agreement. I never even thought of it like that. I guess I owe those jerks at the academy a thank you. After another hour reviewing the poses and katas he had learnt that day, Guy decided to call it quits for the day. Naruto, I want you to practice those whenever you can. Tomorrow, we shall see if you have been practicing. For now, Lee and I must return to our shinobi duties and meet the rest of our squad. Until tomorrow. Guy and Lee both struck the same pose, complete with sparkling teeth and thumbs up. Naruto's sweat dropped, hoping to God that his new sensei wouldn't transform him into something like this. Naruto headed back into town to see that it was fairly close to noon. Yes, I should head over to Ikaraku's. I haven't been there in a while and I'm sure they've been wondering where I went to. Naruto continued to walk home, too tired to run or jump from roof to roof. Man, if I keep up that kind of training, I'll definitely surpass Sasuke team. He made it to his apartment much slower than usual and had some difficulty climbing the stairs to his door. He quickly showered and changed before heading back out and headed towards the ramen bar he loved so much. Man, a nice hot shower really does a lot of good, he thought to himself as he didn't feel as drained as he had when he got home. He walked down the street, ignoring the usual glares he received, occasionally grinning to the fact that he was getting stronger. After this, I'll go back to the river and work on that jutsu. Naruto made it to his favorite restaurant and took a seat on one of the stools. What will? Naruto? Hi there old man, Naruto said to the owner of the ramen stand. Where have you been? I and I were worried you'd forgotten about us. The ramen chef accused. How could I forget you guys? I've just been busy with training is all. Besides, I'm here now aren't I? Chuchai nodded. True. So what'll it be Naruto? 3 bowls of miso ramen. The chef nodded and got to work right away. I like those new clothes by the way Naruto. They look a little familiar though. Naruto grinned. Yeah, I've heard that. My old outfit was getting a bit old, so I thought it was time for an upgrade. A new voice joined the conversation. I think they look good on you Naruto-kun. It snuck up on the once orange-clad shinobi and scared him. Oh, I am Nichin, Naruto exclaimed. Glad to see that we haven't been forgotten teased. So you've been training. Naruto nodded as he was handed his first bowl of ramen. Took a seat next to Naruto as she wasn't working yet. Yeah, been learning a few chakra control techniques and I'm working on this one jutsu. It's really hard though. Oh, and I met someone named Mato Guy who's helping me with my taijutsu. Smiled at how enthusiastic Naruto was being about the whole thing as he slurped down his ramen at the same time. Oh, he exclaimed when his first bowl was finished. How I have missed you ramen. Chuchai took notice of this and asked Naruto something. Haven't you been eating ramen lately? Naruto shook his head. I can't eat it too often anymore. Not if I'm to become a great ninja. I was reading about it, and a ninja actually needs a balanced diet. I don't like it too much, but as long as I can have ramen at least twice a week, I'll live. And Chuchai both stared at Naruto. What? Do I have a noodle stuck to my face? He asked as he started feeling around his face to see if there was anything on it. No, it's nothing Naruto. Said, still in shock. Naruto's reading. But anyways, yeah, so I had to start cooking different kind of meals. It took me a few tries, but now I can make things that are at least edible. This caused jaws to drop. Naruto's cooking as well. Naruto continued to talk as he waited for his second bowl. It's a lot of trial and error, but I'm only getting better. Chuchai snapped out of his shocked state first. Congratulations Naruto. You're finally becoming a true man. Just nodded her head in agreement. Thanks. Does this mean I get this ramen for free? Naruto asked, hopeful of yes. No chance. If you're only eating here once in a while, you're going to be paying for all of your meals. Naruto hung his head at this. Man, free ramen is the best. 10 minutes later, Naruto was done with his ramen and was filling the 2 ramen cooks in on the gory details of his training. I've seen those 2 guys walking around here doing the weirdest things. Walking on their hands, to carrying boulders through the streets Chuchai commented shaking his head. Naruto, if I ever catch you wearing what they wear, I'll ban you from eating ramen at my establishment. Why? Naruto asked. The fact is that Naruto had been given the same type of outfit that his taijutsu teachers wore by Guy, and he had been planning on trying it on that night. It's an abomination Naruto. Never wear one, ever. Naruto could only agree to not wear it. It wasn't worth being banned from Ikaraku's. Finally, Naruto said his goodbyes and headed for the river he had been training at the night before. When he arrived, he created 50 cage bunshin and ordered half of them to continue the tree climbing exercise. I need to make sure that I have that mastered by the end of next week, he yelled to his bunshin. Hi, they all replied. The rest of you will help work on this technique with me. The remaining 25 clones nodded and set to work. In the treetops, a figure was watching him with interest. Naruto just got a whole lot more interesting, thought a certain curious Nara. Naruto left his clones to continue working on the suit and jutsu and went to check on the tree climbing group. How's it going over here? He asked. One of his bunshin that was resting got up and walked over to him. Great boss. We're just walking up and down the tree now, making sure we have the hang of it just like you asked. Naruto nodded his head in approval. Good, I'm going to go work on that taijutsu. The bunshin nodded to the original and left to pick a tree and continue mastering walking up it. Naruto left them and walked a little further into the forest. Man, this is awesome. In his head, he could already imagine himself impressing Sakura, putting Sasuke to shame, and being handed the Hokage's hat. He quickly got into the beginning pose that he had been taught and slowly moved through the few katas he had been shown. I can't let Guy-sensei or Lee down. He had earned their respect just by wearing the weights, and now he wanted to keep that respect by mastering the taijutsu they were teaching him. Over and over, he went through the katas, not wasting any time or energy. Occasionally, he would notice that something fell off and he would try to readjust himself. A few times, he caught himself trying to speed through them and making more mistakes. No, I need to get them perfected first. Just like my father's scrolls say, you must master the basics to master the technique. He continued on into the night until he felt it was time to check up on his clones. He had received a few memories from clones that had accidentally been hit, but not enough to figure out how far they had made it. He checked up on the tree climbing group first. 18 of the original 25 remained. Alright guys, I want you all to dispel right now. Without another word, they all exploded into smoke, their memories and experience assaulting Naruto's mind. Not too bad, he thought to himself. He glanced back at one of the trees and then continued on to the other group. How's it going over here? He asked the closest bunshin when he arrived. Well, we did use the jutsu a few times, but it's too weak right now. Naruto nodded. Okay then, I think that's enough for tonight then. The remaining 15 nodded and disappeared. Naruto felt the memories flow into his head, seeing what was working and what wasn't. Naruto held out his hand and concentrated on the chakra in his hand. Converting it to what the scroll had said felt like a rushing current. A small amount of water shot out of the river and into his hand, swirling around in a small vortex, reminding Naruto of a whirlpool. Although it was only the size of a small coin. Better than nothing, he thought to himself as he cut the chakra flow, allowing the water to fall into his hand. He shook his hand dry and started back towards the village. 2 weeks had come and gone. Naruto could already feel the effects of all the training he had been going through starting to pay off. It was the day of team assignments and Guy and Lee had agreed that Naruto should take the day off. He was already making wonderful progress to the point that he could actually spar with Lee now. Naruto lost, of course, as Lee had much more experience with the style and was a lot stronger than Naruto. Guy had commented though that if he kept up at this rate, he would be on even ground with Lee in a few months' time. Naruto beamed at this, but said nothing, having been taught by Guy in a few other subjects as well. Naruto had to increase his weights every 4 days, as his muscles would get used to them quickly, and Guy had quickly explained the reason being his healing factor. One good thing about being a Jinchuriki, Naruto had thought gloomily. He had finally figured out what he was technically called in the shinobi world, and he hated the term straight away. Human sacrifice. That's all I am. He had nearly tossed the book out the window, but realized that it was a hard truth. He didn't have to like it though. He had to admit, reading wasn't so bad now that he thought about it. In a way, it was slightly entertaining, reading about past wars. Especially when he got to the parts about the Third Great Shinobi War. There were chapters just about his father's battles, all of them being wins. I have a lot to live up to, Naruto thought to himself. And now, here was Naruto, smiling into his pillow as he awoke that morning. The sun streamed through his window and lit up his one-room apartment, warming the sheets that lay on top of Naruto. He could hear the people on the streets going about their business. The noon air was like perfume and, wait a minute. Naruto sniffed the air, his enhanced senses kicking in. Shit, he yelled as he threw the covers off of him. I'm late. I'm so late. Shit. Naruto scrambled around his apartment. The one day I sleep in past 5 and I wake up at noon. Naruto jumped into the shower in the bathroom and grimaced when he realized that there was only cold water. Fix that later, he thought to himself. Once he was cleaned, he jumped out and threw on his boxers, his weights, and then the rest of his clothes that he'd taken to wearing now. He looked at himself in the mirror and noticed that his face was a bit leaner. Wow, that training's starting to pay off. Naruto looked himself up and down, getting used to his new look. May as well measure myself again, he thought. Back in the academy, Naruto would always measure his height to see if he was getting any taller. His height was a sensitive subject for him and he hated being so short. He walked to the wall and placed his back to it, standing straight up. He took a kunai out of his holster and pressed it against his scalp. He then pressed it into the wall until he was sure that it was in there properly. He stepped away and looked. No way, I'm an inch taller. Naruto was jumping for joy at this point. He grabbed his kunai out of his wall and placed it back in the holster and left his apartment at high speed for the academy. Where the hell are they? Sakura screeched. Sasuke didn't say anything as he merely glared at the pink-haired girl. Naruto's late, and so is our new sensei. Sakura was pacing around the front of the classroom, vaguely reminding Sasuke of Iruka when he was irritated. Sakura kept glancing at the door and her crush, torn between adoration and irritation. Naruto's been keeping us waiting way too long. That baka. At least it's just me and Sasuke though. I owe you Naruto. Shinero. Suddenly, they heard a crash outside the door. Sakura ran to it and opened it to find two people lying on the ground. I'm so sorry, sir. Kakashi. One of them was Naruto, but he was dressed differently. The other one was a mask-wearing Jonin, with only one eye visible and gravity-defying silver hair. Hello again, Naruto, the man said lazily. Naruto got to his feet first and offered a hand to the Jonin. Sorry, I was running late and so I wasn't really watching where I was going. Kakashi waved his hand, his eye in a U-shape indicating he was smiling. It's okay, it must be our thing to literally bump into each other. Naruto chuckled nervously as he rubbed the back of his head. That's when Naruto noticed Sakura looking at him, torn between shock and rage. Oh, hi Sakura-chan. Have the teams already been formed? Naruto Yubaka, she yelled, throwing a punch at the blonde genin. Naruto was torn at the moment. He saw the punch coming and had the choice to avoid it or take it. As usual, the blonde took the latter and impacted on the wall. Gee, Gomen Sakura-chan. He muttered from the wall. Weird. That didn't hurt too badly. Guy and Lee throw harder punches. Kakashi looked on at the situation, wondering if now would be the best time to announce who he was. I take it you are Haruno Sakura? Kakashi asked. Sakura hesitated, slightly shocked that he knew who she was. Hi. Good. I guess I'm in the right place. I'm sorry I'm late. I was walking past a tree and a cat was stuck in it, so I got it down and hunted down the owner to return the cat. What a lame excuse, thought Naruto. Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes, Kakashi said with a bored expression on his mostly covered face. With that said, he disappeared in a poof of smoke. Sakura could only blink. Hey, Sakura-chan. Whose team am I on? Naruto asked. Dobe, came Sasuke's voice. What's with the new outfit? Naruto glared at the Uchiha. None of your business, team. Chen, Sasuke retorted as usual. Sasuke started towards the stairs to head to the roof. Sakura quickly followed as Naruto poked his head inside the room. Damn, I'm on the same team as Sasuke. Great. Oh well, at least I'm with Sakura-chan. With that, Naruto followed his new teammates to the roof of the academy. How about we all introduce ourselves? Kakashi suggested. How? Sakura asked. Oh, you know, likes, dislikes, dreams, hobbies, you know. He answered with a bored expression. How about you show us how? Sakura suggested. Kakashi shrugged. My name is Haddock Kakashi, my dreams are none of your business. I like plenty of things and I have tons of hobbies. All we learned was his name, thought the Kunoichi of the group. Next, Kakashi said as he pointed to Sakura, who was on the right of the group. Okay, my name is Haruno Sakura and I like. She glanced at Sasuke. My dreams are. She glanced at Sasuke again, only this time, she blushed and squealed. It seems that she's just a fangirl. Great, I hate Naruto, she declared angrily. Naruto hung his head slightly, hurt by the statement. Maybe I should just give up on her. She obviously only has eyes for Sasuke. Next, Kakashi said as he pointed at Sasuke. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't have many likes but I dislike many things. I don't have a dream, but a goal. To restore my clan and to kill a certain man. Sakura looked on in amazement while Kakashi raised an eyebrow. That's to be expected. Naruto had mixed emotions. From what I read, I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's his brother. Who else would he want to kill? Uchiha Itachi is in the bingo book for killing off his entire clan save for Sasuke. Last one up. Naruto glanced at Kakashi. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. My likes are pranks and training as well as the few friends that I've made in the past few weeks. My dislikes are people who judge someone for something out of their control. My dreams are to become Hokage and to surpass my father. That shouldn't be too much information, Naruto thought to himself. Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi all looked surprised at the last part. Father, Sasuke asked himself. I thought he was a nameless orphan. He's lying about that last part, I bet, thought Sakura. I guess he really does know about Sensei being his father. Well, I think that's all for now. Take these as tomorrow. We'll be doing an exercise to see if you all have what it takes to be genin, said Kakashi as he handed them each a piece of paper with the rules he was about to explain. Exercise? Sakura asked. Kakashi nodded. A test, to see if you can have what it takes to be genin. But we already took a test, Naruto retorted. That was to weed out the weaklings. You all have the potential, but let's see if you have enough. Tomorrow, we'll meet at the training grounds listed on that paper. 7 in the morning, and don't eat breakfast. Why not? Sakura asked. If you do, then I hope you enjoy puking it up, he said simply. What kind of test is it? Naruto asked. Kakashi started to chuckle. Well, let's just say that this test has a 66% fail rate, meaning that only 9 genin out of the 27 that graduated will make it. The rest will be sent back to the academy for more schooling. At this, all 3 genin gulped. Till tomorrow. Yarni. With that, Kakashi disappeared in a swirl of leaves and wind. Immediately Sasuke got up and started to walk away. Sasuke, "Do you want to practice together to prepare for tomorrow?" Sakura asked as she got up to follow him. "No," he said simply, walking away. Sakura stopped in her tracks, rejection sinking in. "Hey Sakura-chan, if you want, I can." "No way," she yelled at him. Naruto scowled slightly, irritated at Sakura. "No need to yell, Sakura. I was just trying to offer you help." "You, the dope, offering me help?" Sakura asked, trying not to laugh. "Yeah, but I guess you'll be alright," Naruto said politely as he walked past her. "Of course I will be." Naruto shrugged. "If you say so. See you tomorrow, Sakura." With that said, Naruto opened the door to the stairs and walked away, just as Sasuke had done. It took Sakura a moment to figure it out, but it finally hit her. "Wait, he didn't call me Sakura-chan. Maybe he's finally out of my hair." Sakura beamed at this new revelation and skipped the rest of the way home. Naruto stood on one of the highest branches. He had been training for a few hours, perfecting the technique he had learned. Now, he was simply staring at the setting sun, which was casting an orange glow on the trees. "It's so peaceful. I can't believe I never noticed before." Naruto continued to watch the setting sun for a few more minutes before deciding to head back to the village for some food. He jumped down to a lower branch, and then to another branch even lower. "I'm not risking breaking my legs again." Naruto finally reached the ground in about 10 seconds. He looked around, taking in the damage he had done to the shore of the river. Small craters dotted the ground here and there, showing his improvement over the past 2 weeks. Naruto grinned to himself, planning on celebrating by ordering a few extra large bowls of ramen at Ikaraku's that night. Naruto started walking back to the village, deciding that he would enjoy taking it easy for the rest of the evening. Slowly though, his mind started to wander until it hit one specific subject. "Sakura, why did I have to pursue you for so long? I'm such an idiot for doing that." Naruto sighed to himself as he kicked a small rock in his way. "I mean, what did I see in you?" Naruto suddenly remembered just why he had fallen for the pink-haired girl. She was being picked on. Naruto mumbled to himself. "I related to her, I guess. We both knew what it felt like." Then she fell in with Ino and the others, and she started bullying as well. Naruto stopped for a moment, clenching his fist as he remembered all the times he had been bullied by the Kunoichi. Then it hit him. I was the only one she bullied. Naruto's face was filled with surprise before it twisted into a frown. "I was the only one." Naruto breathed in deeply before exhaling. "Control your emotions. You're a shinobi now." Naruto clenched his fist, feeling his nails digging into his palm painfully. Why was it only me? Naruto just stood there until he felt like he had composed himself. "It doesn't matter now. I'm trying to get over her, and I will succeed. I don't need that abuse any longer. It's time to stand up for myself." Naruto shook his head, trying to change what he was thinking about when he remembered his newest sensei. "Kakashi. He seems alright. The mask is kinda weird, and this hit I ate." Then what does he mean by, "don't eat any breakfast"? Naruto started to wonder about this as it didn't seem to make sense to him. "I remember reading in those books Jai-san and Uruka-sensei bought me that you should always eat breakfast. Never skip it if you can help it. Otherwise, you're giving yourself a huge handicap." Naruto just couldn't understand why Kakashi didn't want them to eat breakfast. Wait, maybe he's just stupid. Damn it. Naruto was just walking through the village gates as he screamed, "Why does my sensei have to be the stupid one?" The two Chunin currently on guard duty stared after the young blonde in confusion. Naruto noticed that he had just yelled out something seemingly random in front of other shinobi and had the good graces to be embarrassed. Naruto sighed as he continued on his way to Ikaraku's when he felt his heart stop. "Why no?" Sakura was walking home from the library, wondering about her brooding wonder. "Sasuke-kun, I can't believe he's actually on my squad. I'll win him over in no time." She blushed as she imagined herself in Sasuke's arms. "Oh, it would be terrific. And that would show Ino Pig." Sakura continued to think of various fantasies of her and Sasuke being together until she caught sight of her other teammate. "Oh great, it's Naruto." Sakura was already preparing to reject his request for a date and pummel him into the ground. She clenched her fist, getting ready for the moment. She kept walking forward as Naruto walked towards her. "Alright, here we go. Shinero, you're gonna pay Naruto." She kept walking and walking, straight past Naruto without a word. What the hell? What just happened? At first, Sakura was confused at what had happened, but she quickly figured out what was happening as anger filled her very being. Naruto groaned inwardly as he kept walking down the street. There was no way he could turn around and run. It was the cowardly thing to do. So he decided to just not say anything to his teammate, not after how she had reacted to him asking if she wanted help earlier today after meeting their sensei. If she wasn't such a bitch, maybe I would be polite. Naruto thought to himself. I mean, all I wanted to do was help, but she just had to insult me yet again. Flashes of being bullied by her resurfaced. Her harsh rejections to his date proposals. All she needed to do was say no, not flip out and knock me senseless. Naruto walked straight past the Kunoichi without a glance. I did it. I got past her. Naruto felt as if his world had just brightened a bit. For the first time since meeting her, he had simply ignored Sakura. This was a big step in his opinion as he had never done that before. This seems a lot easier than I thought. Naruto exclaimed mentally. Suddenly, something felt off. He turned to see Sakura's fist rocketing at his face. Out of instinct from training with Guy and Lee for the past 2 weeks, he went to block the strike. As if on autopilot, he caught the fist, threw it to the side, unbalancing Sakura, and aimed a kick for her head. Naruto realized what he was about to do and slightly altered the path of his foot, causing it to fly over Sakura's head. Sakura's jaw dropped at this action as she fell flat on her butt. What was that just now? Sakura asked herself. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the pink-haired Kunoichi. Don't do that, Sakura. I could have given you a concussion. He snapped. Sakura's rage returned as she stood up and glared at Naruto. What the fuck, Naruto? You nearly give me a concussion and you yell at me. Naruto glared at Sakura. Shut billboard brow. Sakura was shocked at this. She didn't know what to say as Naruto continued. You were the one that initiated an attack and I just reacted like I would normally when caught off guard. Don't blame me for that. Naruto spun around and started to walk away. I'll see you tomorrow, he said without looking back. Sakura's jaw was feeling slack, tears stinging her eyes. Hey, he called me billboard brow. Maybe he wasn't trying to get my attention by ignoring me. Sakura stood up and ran straight home, not wanting to be seen crying. Those days were behind her. The days when she would be bullied for her forehead and she would cry for everyone to see were over. Naruto got to his apartment and slammed the door behind him, panting slightly. What was that just now? I've never felt that angry before. It was like it wasn't even me speaking. Naruto felt even more tired than he had after training. I don't think I can make it to Ikaraku's tonight. Everything seemed to spin as Naruto fell onto his mattress, unconscious. Saruto by hers and watched Naruto pass out through his crystal ball. It seems as if young Naruto slightly tapped into the fox's chakra. Not enough to be noticeable, but it did drain him when the fox's influence left him. Interesting. If this continues, he'll be able to use the demon's chakra in a battle. He'll become a true Jinchuriki. Sarutobi glanced up at Minato's photo. This is something that I must keep to myself. If Danzo were to discover this, he would push for Naruto to join Root again, and I don't need him trying to convince Amira or Koharu. They may agree with him this time, he mumbled. Sarutobi stood up and popped his back as turned towards Kakashi and Guy. You two will have to keep this a secret as well. Monitor him whenever possible. If he is able to tap into the demon's chakra at will, I may need to send for Jiraiya to check up on the seal. I want to make sure we are all safe before I allow Naruto to use the Kyuubi's chakra. Guy and Kakashi both nodded. Kakashi, you are dismissed for now. I wish to speak with Guy alone. Kakashi nodded as he pulled out his infamous orange book. Yes, Hokage-sama. He turned and walked out of the room as he skimmed through his book, trying to find where he was at previously. Once the door was shut, the Sandaime motioned for Guy to take a seat. How is his taijutsu training coming along, Guy? Hiruzen asked. Guy took a breath before starting, looking completely serious. Well, it was rough at first. I thought that he would be perfect for the Goken at first, but something always seemed to be off. Sarutobi nodded as he took his own seat at his desk, reaching into his robes for his pipe and some tobacco. So we started to experiment for a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hokage-sama, he is quite proficient at the Goken. Given enough time he could surpass Lee, but I think he could be better. Sarutobi closed his eyes and nodded again as he lit his pipe and inhaled. So we began tweaking the Goken a bit to fit Naruto. How are you tweaking it? The aged Hokage asked. We've already begun. We've decided to incorporate his Kage Bunshin Jutsu into the style. Before you object, Hokage-sama, Guy said at the look of horror on Sarutobi's face. Naruto's chakra capacity is enormous. I've had him create enough clones to resemble an army, and he still wasn't out of chakra. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow at this. So Naruto and I have been slowly creating a style by combining the Goken style with the Kage Bunshin Jutsu. What have been the results thus far? Hiruzen asked the Taijutsu specialist. Guy grinned, flashing his sparkling teeth in the process. Fantastic. It's a style only Naruto can use, and it far surpasses the Goken alone. There were a few stances that have been changed around, making it a defensive and more fluid style than the Goken, but much of it is similar. So it isn't the exact same? Sarutobi inquired as he exhaled more smoke. Guy shook his head. No, there are variations to this style. It requires even more speed than the Goken though to be truly successful. When do you think Naruto will be able to use this style effectively in combat? Guy thought for a moment before answering. Well, at his current rate, by the time the Chunin exams begin, he should be able to crush much opposition. The only ones I think would give him a challenge would be my own two students, Lee and Neji. Only a challenge though? Sarutobi asked, wanting clarification. Well, Naruto's speed and strength are going up quickly thanks to the demon sealed within him. The healing factor is giving Naruto the edge in his training. He has more stamina than anyone I have ever met, and his drive surpasses even my own. The Hokage chuckled at this. He trains as hard as he can and attempts to surpass what he has done constantly. The other day Guy was interrupted by a knock at the Sarutobi's door. Come in, the Hokage spoke. Hello, Sarutobi Dono. Danzo. The Hokage nearly growled. Nato Guy. It has been a while. Guy simply nodded, not trusting the old warhawk. He turned to the Hokage. I shall give you the rest of my report later, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi nodded to the Jonin as he stood up and left the room. What is it, Danzo? Naruto woke up the next morning, feeling slightly sore, but otherwise okay. He looked out the window to find that the sun hadn't even risen yet. He yawned as he sat up on his bed and looked around before noticing that something was off. He looked down at himself and found that he hadn't changed out of his clothes the night before or even taken his weights off. Better get a shower and change before breakfast, Naruto mumbled just before he yawned. He stretched out, feeling his joints pop slightly, before rising to his feet, noticing that his sandals were still on as well. What happened to me last night? He asked himself. I just got so tired after Sakura pissed me off. Weird. Naruto took his jacket off, followed by his clothes and his weights as he headed for the shower. The hot water was broken again, but it helped wake him up at least. He quickly dried himself off and put on some boxers before sitting down and pouring him a bowl of cereal and grabbing a green apple. Wait, Kakashi said not to eat. Naruto wondered whether he should do what he was told by his superior or to go with his gut and eat. Wait, he only suggested that we don't eat tomorrow. It wasn't an order, Naruto thought with a foxy grin etched on his face. He dug into his breakfast with gusto. Once finished, he grabbed another one of his clean outfits from the closet and threw it on. Alright, let's see here. What do I need? He decided to bring what he normally would. Kunai, sure I can, wire, a few scrolls with a couple things sealed inside. He then strapped on his weights and looked out his window again. The sun was finally starting to rise, signaling that morning was approaching quickly. Better get there early. Naruto ran out of his apartment and took to the building. Man, my weights are feeling light again. I guess I'll increase the weight when I get to the training grounds. Naruto felt the cool morning air whipping his face as he increased his speed when he reached the trees. Finally, he reached the training grounds that his team had been told to meet at. When Naruto landed on the ground, it slightly buckled under his weight. Whoa, I gotta be careful about doing that. Naruto quickly formed the ram hand seal and focused a bit more chakra into his weights, feeling them weigh down even more. Okay, that should be okay, Naruto exclaimed at the change. I better start getting used to these. This test may involve some fighting if we're outside, Naruto thought as he started to walk around slowly, weighed down by his weights. Naruto kept it up for about 30 minutes before he felt that he was starting to get used to it enough that he could fight somewhat. If this is going to be a drawn-out fight, it'll help me get used to the weights faster. Naruto kept it up for about 30 minutes before he felt that he was starting to get used to it enough that he could fight somewhat. If this is going to be a drawn-out fight, it'll help me get used to the weights faster. Naruto decided to sit down and wait for his teammates and sensei as he had gotten there early and there was still at least half an hour to wait before 7. Finally, Sasuke was the next one to arrive. The Uchiha still wasn't used to Naruto's new look and almost didn't recognize the blonde genin. Hey there Sasuke, Naruto greeted politely. Sasuke nodded his head, not saying anything. He's different, not as loud or obnoxious. I wonder what happened in the past few weeks. Sasuke didn't mind though, far from it. He preferred this new persona of Naruto's. One less problem for him, although he was sure that the dobe hadn't gotten much better since the academy. After all, what could change within 2 weeks? Sasuke stood a slight distance from his blonde teammate with his hands in his pockets, waiting for the last 2 members of Squad 7 to arrive. Not much later, Sakura skipped onto the field, but halted when she saw Naruto, his words still fresh in her mind. She focused her attention on her crush, deciding that it didn't matter what Naruto thought anyway. Hi Sasuke-kun, Sakura squealed as she ran up to the brooding boy. Sasuke ignored the kunoichi, already irritated by her presence. Isn't today a great day? I mean, this is the first day of our team. Sasuke nearly shivered. The dobe and the banshee. Kami must hate me or something. Then Sasuke noticed that something was off. He glanced at the other male genin in wonder. Why didn't he greet Sakura like normal? He isn't even looking at her. Did I miss something? He glanced at the pink-haired kunoichi, making her blush in the process before returning his gaze to Naruto. It's none of my business, I guess. Sasuke closed his eyes and began going over different battle tactics in his mind. This must be a test to find out what we are capable of in the field. Why else would we be meeting at a training ground? Sakura noticed that Sasuke had glanced at not only her, but Naruto as well. Great, Sasuke must have been comparing me to the dobe. How could he compare us? I'm so much better than that baka. Inner Sakura exclaimed. Sakura sighed as she sat down on the grass next to Sasuke. At least Sasuke is here to keep my mind off of things. That was when Sasuke had decided to go and lean against one of the 3 training posts in the middle of the grounds. Or maybe not. For the next 2 hours, the 3 genin sat in an awkward silence. But that was also when Sakura and Sasuke noticed something strange. Naruto sat in the lotus position, meditating. Since when did the dobe meditate? I remember back in the academy he couldn't even sit still for more than 5 minutes unless he was asleep. I know he isn't asleep, his breathing is too light. He's aware of his surroundings. Sakura however just took it as he was trying to show Sasuke up. That baka, I should give him a piece of my mind. Sakura screamed mentally until she remembered what had happened the day before when she had tried attacking him. On second thought, Naruto was aware of what Sasuke and Sakura were up to at the moment, standing there staring at him. One was confused, while the other was angry. Finally, Naruto sensed him. It's about damn time. Naruto yelled as he opened his eyes. Sasuke noticed Kakashi's presence at the same time as Naruto and was slightly surprised that the dobe had gotten it just as fast as he had. Sakura however was slightly confused. "What the hell are you talking about, you baka?" She screamed at him as she stood up, starting towards him until she heard Kakashi speak. "Sorry for my being late, but there was this old lady that needed help getting her cat out of a tree and someone accidentally aimed a cat ninjutsu at the tree, so I had to take the cat to a vet there," Sensei explained. Sasuke glared at the silver-haired Jonin for his lame excuse. "You liar," Naruto declared angrily. Sakura nodded in agreement. Kakashi ignored them as he set down the backpack he was wearing and pulled out an alarm clock. "Well, I think it's time we started, don't you agree?" The three genin nodded in agreement, ready to face whatever Kakashi had planned. "Your objective is to get these bells from me before the timer goes off. Whoever doesn't receive a bell shall be tied to one of the posts right behind you and have their lunch eaten in front of them by me," Kakashi declared with a smile on his face. Sakura and Sasuke both felt their stomachs growl in hunger, loud enough for both Kakashi and Naruto to hear. Kakashi narrowed an eye at Naruto. It seems as if Naruto didn't take the bait like the others. Strange. He's really surprising me since I met him. Then again, he has been catching up with his classmates. He's probably surpassed them in certain aspects. Kakashi cleared his throat. "Sounds like somebody didn't take my advice. Care to tell us why you ate breakfast, Naruto?" Sasuke and Sakura both glared at the blonde. "Naruto, you baka. That's not fair that you get to eat while we starve to death," Sakura yelled, ready to pound Naruto into the ground. Naruto aimed a glare at the pink-haired Kunoichi, making her stop in her tracks. This didn't go unnoticed by Kakashi and Sasuke. Kakashi already knew what had happened the day before and wasn't surprised at this. Sasuke was, however, and felt his jaw slacken slightly as his eyebrows shot up. What the hell is up with Naruto? I've never seen him glare at anybody like that before, much less Sakura. Something must have happened between them, something big. He wouldn't act like this otherwise. I mean, he's always taking her abuse. What the hell did she do to piss him off? Well, Kakashi-sensei, I remember reading in several books that skipping breakfast is ill-advised. It can handicap you for the rest of the day as you won't have too much energy and you never know what might happen as a shinobi. I didn't think you were actually trying to do that though. I thought you were just an idiot. Naruto, Sakura yelled. Don't call him that. He's your superior, show him some respect. Kakashi simply chuckled. You're honest. I like that in a person, Naruto. Naruto beamed at this. He had hardly ever received any type of praise, and this was one of the few times. I like this Kakashi guy. He's really nice. Well, Naruto, you're right. Not eating a breakfast can handicap you in a mission, however you won't always be able to eat on a mission. Thankfully, we have soldier pills for those types of missions. You could have eaten breakfast as I only suggested that you shouldn't, it wasn't an actual order. Sasuke and Sakura sighed, knowing that Kakashi was right. Anyways, get the rules straightened out. You three will have to try and get these bells from me, he said as he held out 2 silver bells. Attack to kill, no holding back at all. But Sensei, Sakura said. There are 3 of us and only 2 bells. Kakashi nodded, meaning one of you will lose no matter what. The 3 genin shivered. It doesn't seem that bad, Naruto said. Oh, I forgot to mention that whoever doesn't receive a bell shall be sent back to the academy for further instruction. At this, the 3 genin glanced at each other. Never mind then, Naruto thought to himself. This should be easy, Sasuke thought to himself. Sakura seemed uneasy at this. She had already seen a bit of what Naruto was capable of, even though it seemed impossible. Then Sasuke was the rookie of the year. I may have to go back, she thought gloomily. You will have until noon, so about 90 minutes. Plenty of time, don't you think? Nobody said anything. All right then, on my mark, set. Before he could finish, Naruto was already in action, 6 shuriken flying at the masked Jonin. Sasuke and Sakura used the distraction to flee the area. Kakashi merely caught the shuriken out of the air. Not bad, Naruto, but do you really think that would be enough against a Jonin? Naruto popped his neck. Not after seeing what Guy-sensei can do. You and he are supposed to be rivals, so I can only imagine what you're like to fight with. Kakashi sighed. Rivals? He does seem stuck on that idea. Naruto raised an eyebrow. So you're not rivals? Kakashi shrugged. Don't forget, Naruto, the test has begun. Suddenly, Kakashi was behind Naruto, throwing the shuriken faster than Naruto had ever seen a shuriken thrown. Within seconds, shuriken riddled Naruto's body as he fell to the ground. Sakura and Sasuke both gasped from their hiding spots in the bushes. He killed him. This Jonin isn't fucking around, Sasuke thought as a chill ran through his body. Sakura couldn't comprehend what she had just seen. Their sensei had just murdered their teammate. She felt her eyes tearing up when Naruto's limp body exploded into a cloud of smoke. A bunchin, fought the 2 genin. It was solid though. What technique was that? Sasuke asked himself. Suddenly Naruto flew out of the trees at Kakashi faster than usual. Kakashi jumped out of the way as Naruto impacted on the spot where Kakashi had just been a split second before, creating a small crater covered in dust blown up from the impact. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. He's increased his weights quite a bit. He must be training himself into the ground to make that kind of progress. Naruto jumped up after his sensei through the smoke, using it as a cover. Kakashi had been expecting this and had heard his student come after him. Kakashi's fist made contact with Naruto's stomach, knocking the wind out of the blonde. He hits just as hard as Guy. he thought to himself. Kakashi then grabbed Naruto's collar with his other hand and spun him around and throwing him at a tree. Naruto twisted in the air and used the tree as a springboard to launch himself back at Kakashi, who was now visible as the smoke had cleared. Kakashi was starting to descend towards the ground when he saw Naruto hurtling at him yet again. Kakashi pulled out a few kunai and threw them at Naruto, expecting him to use a kawarami. Naruto quickly made the one-hand seal for the Kage Bunshin. Without a word, a clone appeared next to him and grabbed his sleeve, tossing him just under the kunai, towards the spot that Kakashi was going to land. Impressive usage of Kage Bunshin, Kakashi thought with mild surprise. Naruto landed first, thanks to his Bunshin throwing him, and pulled out a kunai, ready to throw it up at his sensei only to find that he wasn't there. You know, a voice said behind Naruto. That was a clever idea, using your shadow clone to do that. It's a shame that I know that jutsu and felt like trying out your idea. Naruto smiled to himself. Gotcha. Naruto exploded into smoke. Another Bunshin, Kakashi exclaimed. That's right, Naruto said as he stood in the ready stance of the Goken style. Great, I just had to teach him this style. His form seems fantastic for only a beginner. Naruto smirked. It's not what you think. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. The Goken style, correct. Kakashi knew this move already. Naruto was going to attack from behind. The Jonin spun around to find not one, but two Narutos. This is different. Kakashi intercepted their punches before quickly kneeing one and elbowing the other. However, they both exploded into smoke. Decoys, Kakashi berated himself mentally. Before he could whirl around, Naruto's foot collided with the side of Kakashi's face. Unprepared for the blow, Kakashi flew across the training grounds and crashed just short of the river. Sakura and Sasuke stared, jaws open at the fight before them. They had never seen Naruto fight like this ever. He seemed to have improved quickly within the past 2 weeks. Kakashi picked himself up and looked at the blonde genin. His improvement is astounding. He really could achieve his dream of surpassing his father. I mean, if 2 weeks did this, imagine if he kept up at this rate for 5 years. Kakashi rubbed the left side of his face where he had been hit. That's one hell of a kick he's got there, and I don't know if that was him holding back or not. Interesting style you have there, Kakashi said as he brushed the dirt off of his clothes. Naruto grinned. It's unique to me only. Kai-sensei is helping me develop it. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at the new information. Unique, huh? I'll have to agree to that. Incorporating Kage Bunshin with that style is a risky maneuver, but Naruto may have the chakra reserves for it. Here I thought I could get a few chapters of my book read. My miscalculation, Kakashi mumbled to himself. Sasuke glared from the bushes he was hiding in. How did Naruto improve so quickly? It doesn't make sense at all. Was he holding back in the academy, or did I miss something? Sasuke kept his eyes glued on the battle, looking for an opening that he could use to get one of the bells. He's much better than I had anticipated, Sasuke mumbled. Sakura, who was a bit further from Sasuke's location, couldn't find any words to say nor think. She was flabbergasted at how good Naruto was compared to when he was in the academy 2 weeks earlier. He hadn't been able to win in any of the spars or taijutsu test, and yet here he was, taking on a Jonin single-handedly and seemingly winning. Then there was that clone jutsu. She distinctly remembered that Naruto's worst subject was the Bunshin, and yet now he was not only able to make clones, he was able to use solid clones in combat. It's amazing. You know, Naruto, I never expected the dead last of the graduating year to be this good. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Naruto yelled as he jabbed a finger at Kakashi. It means you're much better than I had anticipated. I may have to stop holding back as much. Naruto gulped. He was holding back. I don't think I'll be able to get through this match without lowering my weights, which I promised Gai-sensei I wouldn't do at all for a few months, until the Chunin exams. Kakashi quickly disappeared, leaving Naruto slightly baffled. Where the hell did he go? Kakashi's voice sounded behind. This is one of Konoha's most sacred and dangerous techniques. Naruto paled when he realized that Kakashi was behind him, ready to unveil this jutsu. Kakashi was crouched behind Naruto, forming the tiger seal with his hands. Senin Goroshi, he declared as he performed the technique. At first Naruto didn't know what to think until he was propelled forward through the air, his butt feeling as if it were on fire. Naruto landed in the river, holding onto his butt in pain. Sasuke and Sakura both blushed, wondering the exact same thing. Is our sensei an idiot? Kakashi stood up, watching the river in anticipation. What could he be up to now? Kakashi wondered. Meanwhile, in the water, Naruto was struggling with his weights yet again. Fuck, why did I have to land in the river? Naruto formed the ram seal, focusing some chakra into his limbs, just as he had been doing for most of the fight to increase his speed with the weights on. He started swimming up to the surface, trying to come up with a new battle plan. I don't want to reveal my new jutsu yet, but I may have to. Naruto broke through the surface of the water to find that Kakashi wasn't around. What the hell? Maybe he located one of the others. He didn't say whether he would look for us as well. Naruto got out of the river and looked around for any sign of their sensei. Sasuke cursed his luck as he heard Sakura scream in the distance. I shouldn't have thrown those damn shuriken when Naruto disappeared. He was on guard the whole damn time. Sasuke sighed as he sensed his teacher. I'm not like the others, he declared. Well, Sasuke, I wouldn't be bragging until you've gotten a bell, Kakashi said as he was reading an orange book while leaning on the tree behind Sasuke. Sasuke whirled around, unleashing a barrage of shuriken at the Jonin, who quickly evaded the projectiles by jumping out of the way. Sasuke followed up with some taijutsu, surprising the Jonin with the ferocity of the attacks. I can't even read my book with him either. In fact, this kid may be better than Naruto. Sasuke kicked at Kakashi, which was blocked with one hand. Sasuke then went to punch him, but that hand was caught. Sasuke then used his other foot to attack Kakashi, but was yet again blocked, this time by Kakashi's forearm. Sasuke smirked as he used his last remaining hand to reach for a bell quickly. His finger had brushed against it when he felt himself being thrown back by the silver-haired Jonin. Sasuke landed and glared at his teacher. I was so close. Kakashi was surprised at the Uchiha's strategy. He was close. Too close. Kakashi looked at his forearm, checking to see if Sasuke's kick could have done any damage, but found there was nothing wrong. He doesn't hit as hard, but maybe that's because Naruto was wearing weights. Kakashi stowed his book in his equipment pouch. Lesson 1, Taijutsu. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at the teacher. Let's skip that lesson then, he said as he started forming hand seals. Kakashi's eye widened when he recognized the seals. A fire release jutsu. He's just a genin, he shouldn't be able to use that. Sasuke smirked as he inhaled. Katen, Gakakyu no Jutsu. Sasuke breathed out, creating a large fireball that seemingly incinerated their new sensei. Sasuke halted the technique a few seconds later to find nothing remaining. Where is he? Behind? Above? Wait. Suddenly, Kakashi's hand broke through the ground beneath Sasuke and grabbed his ankle. Daten, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu. Before Sasuke could react, his entire body, save for his head, was buried in the ground. Lesson 3 would be ninjutsu, Kakashi said as he crouched over the head of Sasuke with a smile on his covered face. Sasuke could only glare at the man. Kakashi walked away, leaving the genin alone, or so he thought. Sasuke, Naruto's voice whispered. In, Naruto, Sasuke asked as he attempted to look behind him, with no success. Yeah, let me help you get out of here. Sasuke said nothing as Naruto walked around Sasuke's head so that he could see that it was actually him. Naruto made the cross seal for the Kage Bunshin Jutsu and began to use his clones to quickly dig the raven-haired Uchiha out of the ground. It only took a minute or so to do, and once he was free, Sasuke nodded in appreciation to his new teammate. I guess I owe you, he mumbled. Naruto grinned. Well, I wanted to ask you a favor, Sasuke. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. Never thought I'd see the day that Naruto would ask me to help him out. It's obvious that we can't take this guy on alone. How about you and I team up and get those bells? Sasuke narrowed his eyes at the blonde. I got pretty close, he just took me by surprise, Sasuke sneered. Naruto frowned. He's just playing with us, Sasuke. He even managed to escape your little bonfire. Shut it, dope, Sasuke said, angry that Naruto had just insulted the fireball technique. Fine, I'll leave you alone, Sasuke. I tried. Naruto whirled around and took to the trees, heading back to find Kakashi and try to get a bell. Sasuke glared after Naruto. May as well watch to see if there could be any openings, he thought as he took off after Naruto. Kakashi stood in the middle of the clearing that they had started from, reading his book yet again. Here comes our maverick ninja yet again, Kakashi thought as he put his book back in his pouch, knowing he was going to need both hands in this spar. Naruto exploded from the trees, already charging at Kakashi. It's not going to work, Kakashi said as he prepared himself. Just as Naruto was a few feet from the Jonin, he jumped into the air and threw a kunai at the Jonin. Kakashi quickly snatched it out of the air and threw it back at the genin. Naruto threw a shuriken to intercept it and landed on Kakashi's other side. Naruto whirled around, throwing a roundhouse kick at Kakashi, which was dodged. I don't feel like getting hit again, Kakashi thought to himself. Naruto continued to attempt to hit his sensei, but to no avail. Kakashi would keep dodging the strikes, just by mere centimeters. He knows what he's doing, Naruto thought to himself. He then jumped back, leaving quite a bit of space between the two. Naruto was back in the ready stance of the Goken. I've got to end this quickly, I can't keep using my chakra to compensate for the weights, Naruto thought to himself. Guess I'll have to use it. Naruto sprang into action, pumping chakra into the soles of his feet, making him rocket towards Kakashi. Good chakra control, Kakashi made a mental note of it for later. Kakashi was now forced to actually have to block as the hits came. They were too fast to merely dodge. That's when Kakashi noticed that Naruto was driving him back towards the river. There must be a bunch hiding in the water, waiting for me, Kakashi thought. He grabbed one of Naruto's fists and whirled him around, throwing him into the river. Kakashi was surprised when Naruto jumped back out of the water 2 seconds later, with a grin on his face. Too bad for you, sensei, he said with a grin. Kakashi was confused for a moment until he noticed several Kage Bunshin jump out of the river and latch onto him. What's he planning? Kakashi thought as he felt Naruto's chakra spike a bit. He quickly noticed that he was focusing his chakra into his palm. Is that the Rasengan? Kakashi wondered in amazement and slight fear. He knew the destructive force of that jutsu and knew it wouldn't end well if he was hit by it. But then he noticed something different. He's manipulating the water, swirling it. I know that jutsu. Naruto smirked as he used the water on him to form the jutsu. Suten, Hahanryu. The water swirled around in Naruto's palm in a clockwise motion, reminding Kakashi of the Rasengan in a way. Then Naruto held out his palm, facing Kakashi, and the water shot out at the Jonin. Oh shit, thought the Jonin before being hit with the torrent of water. Kakashi flew across the grounds, hitting a tree painfully and pinning him there until jutsu stopped a few seconds later. Kakashi panted as he felt the pain in his chest where the jutsu had struck him. I was definitely not expecting Naruto to know any elemental release jutsu. Where did he learn that jutsu? Naruto landed on the riverbank and stared at Kakashi. Here I come, he said as he started to run towards him, but then the alarm suddenly rang, signaling the end of the test. Kakashi sighed, not wanting to find out if Naruto knew any more jutsu to surprise him with. I won't be underestimating him anymore. Sasuke appeared from the forest, with Sakura trailing behind him. So she's conscious again. I hope I didn't overdo it with that Jinjutsu of Sasuke dying. Kakashi shrugged and walked forward. Sakura seemed confused as to why Kakashi was dripping wet, but didn't say anything as she hadn't gotten a bell. Sasuke was staring at Naruto, having witnessed the jutsu he had used during the fight. Where the hell is he learning all of this? Kakashi looked at the three genin as they sat down. His eyes traveled to Sakura, who was the only one tied up currently. None of you seem to get a bell. How disappointing, Kakashi said in a bored tone. The three genin said nothing. The three of you obviously didn't get the point of this exercise. At least not completely. The three of the genin looked confused at this. The purpose of this test was teamwork. You were supposed to act and work as a team to get the bells from me. There were only 2 bells though. Sakura exclaimed. It's not fair for us to have to choose. Nothing is ever fair, Sakura. One of you partially got the point of this exercise. Naruto eventually figured that it would be easier to get to the bells by having someone help, in this case Sasuke. But Sasuke found that he was good enough to get a bell for himself without help. Sakura, you were looking for Sasuke the whole time while Naruto was clearly in front of you the majority of the time. The three genin looked ashamed. Do you know what this is? Kakashi asked them as he turned to a large stone with writing on it. None of them said anything. It's a memorial for those that have died during a mission in the line of duty. The three genin were silent. I'm going to give you one more chance. Naruto, Sasuke, you two can eat lunch and attempt to get a bell again. Sakura, you may also have another go at a bell, but you don't get to eat. If either of you two gives her any food, I'll fail you automatically. With that said, Kakashi disappeared in a poof of smoke. Sakura's stomach growled as she stayed silent, watching the two boys grabbing bentos that were left behind by Kakashi. Maybe Sasuke will offer me some food. Sakura thought hungrily as she watched them open the bentos. Again, Sakura's stomach growled. Sasuke glanced at her, making Sakura's heart skip a beat in anticipation, but felt it plummet when he looked away without a word. Naruto glanced at the pink-haired girl, wondering if he should offer some of his food. She'd probably just think I was trying to get another date from her, though, Naruto thought angrily. He glanced at Sasuke as he ate his own bento quietly. But if we don't help her out, she'll just be a handicap. I mean, I already ate today, I could just say I'm not really hungry. Naruto sighed as he made up his mind. However, Sasuke beat him to the punch. Here, he said as he held out his bento to the tied-up Sakura. Sakura stared wide-eyed at the Uchiha. He really does care. Sasuke noticed Sakura's face light up and figured out what she was thinking. You'll only drag us down if you don't eat anything, he said flatly. Sakura's face fell a bit, but she remained happy. Sasuke, Naruto started. She can have mine and you can have yours. I already ate once today and it wouldn't be fair to you guys if I ate 2 meals and you didn't have even 1 full meal. Sakura glared at Naruto for a moment before he glared at her. Wrong idea, Sakura. I'll admit that my crush for you isn't completely gone, but I am trying to get rid of it. I'm sick of your abuse and I think moving on would be the best option for me. So just take the damn bento. Naruto set his bento on the ground, stood up and walked off. I'll be back in a few minutes. I just want to scout the area before Kakashi-sensei gets back. Sakura stared after the blonde genin in confusion. I don't abuse him. Suddenly, an explosion appeared in front of them and threw Naruto back, landing next to his other teammates. Kakashi flew out of the smoke, anger in his one visible eye. Phew. Sasuke pulled out a kunai, Sakura screamed, and Naruto didn't know what to do. Pass. Kakashi stopped right in front of the three genin, the anger gone and a smile clearly visible. What? Naruto stammered. You disobeyed my orders, Kakashi said simply. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as Sakura spoke. Then why do we pass? Kakashi chuckled. It was another test of your teamwork. Sasuke offered you his food. Many people say that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Sasuke knew this and offered you his food. Of course, I could see that Naruto was thinking the same thing and it did make sense that he didn't need to eat as he had eaten earlier today. Naruto's jaw dropped. I didn't even sense him anywhere close by. Remember, those who break the rules of the ninja world are scum. Yes, that's true. However, those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Starting tomorrow, Squad 7 will begin taking missions, Kakashi declared with a thumb up. Sasuke gave a rare smile as Naruto gave one of his wide smiles. Sakura had a small smile on her face, still wondering how she had abused Naruto. Naruto pulled out a kunai as Sasuke and Kakashi were walking away and cut the bonds that held Sakura. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you out anymore. No need to even talk to each other unless it's necessary to do so. Other than that, don't talk to me or even look at me, Sakura.
I'm sick of how you treat me when all I did was try to be nice to you.
In a way, you're lucky I'm even being polite. Now if you'll excuse me, the dobe needs to go have some ramen. With that said, Naruto walked off in the opposite direction of Sasuke and Kakashi. Sakura could only stare after the blonde, getting angry at him for accusing her of abusing him. I have never abused that dobe in any way. Shinero.
We should kick his ass.
Sakura nodded to herself until she realized just what she had thought. Wait a second. And then it sunk in, just exactly how she had been abusing him. Oh my god, Sakura muttered to herself. She remembered all the times she had just hit him, even when he was just trying to be nice to her.
I really did abuse him.
Naruto jumped through the trees, wanting to get back to his training. Man, Sasuke still is better than me. I need to increase my training. He at least touched a bell, nearly grabbed the damn thing. I'll have to ask Guy about training more often with my taijutsu. Naruto smiled to himself after a moment. I'm getting smarter at least. I know the difference between Sasuke and me. He's still a jerk though, Naruto said to himself as he narrowed his eyes. He finally reached his training spot that he had used for everything except his suit and jutsu. He landed and took off his jacket, not wanting to ruin it at the moment. He stretched his limbs out, not wanting to cramp up. He stopped for a moment, glancing at his weights. I want to get stronger faster. I may not be used to this weight yet, but I may as well raise it just a bit more. Naruto formed the ram seal and focused a small amount of chakra into his weights, feeling them weigh down just a bit more. Naruto grinned as he released the seal and tried moving. It's more difficult, but I bet I'll get stronger a lot faster now. Naruto started off with a few basic exercises: push-ups, sit-ups, running, jumping jacks, kicking a tree and punching the same tree. He then moved on to the katas for his unique unnamed style. He started slowly, making sure he had them all right, knowing that he had screwed a few of the stances up earlier in his fight with Kakashi. He quickly picked up the speed, straining his muscles a bit more. He grunted as he twisted around, throwing a punch. Okay, this is pretty heavy. He kept it up for a few hours, not knowing that he was being watched. Wow, who knew Naruto would improve this much? Thought a certain lazy shadow user. Next to him was a certain Akamichi, wondering just what Naruto was doing. Saruto by hers and grinned as he watched the two genin spying on Naruto. It seems Shikamaru is trying to figure out the enigma that is Naruto. He looked up from his crystal ball at the gathered jonin who were all waiting for the chronically late Kakashi headache. At the moment, he was 3 hours late, a new record. A knock at the door caused the Hokage and the two other jonin sigh. Come in, Kakashi, the Sandaime called. The door opened to reveal the one-eyed jonin, orange book in hand. Sorry I'm so late, guys. I crossed a black cat on my way here and had to take the long way. Kurenai and Asuma both sighed at the lame excuse, having heard that specific one many times. Yes, well, now that you are here, Kakashi, let us hear what the results are, the aged Hokage asked, already knowing the answer, but procedure came first. Ah yes, Kakashi said as he snapped his book shut, taking on a serious manner. Squad 7, consisting of Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto. The two jonin both knew the answer as it had been every year. Pass. Asuma chalked and nearly swallowed his entire cigarette while Kurenai widened her eyes. The Hokage chuckled. Good, that is very good news. Well, that is all I truly need at the moment. However, I will need a detailed report done by tomorrow morning before you start any missions. Kakashi only nodded his head in acknowledgement. The three of you are dismissed. Kakashi quickly disappeared in a leaf shunshin, leaving Asuma and Kurenai walking out of the door. Squad 7 seems to have a lot of untapped potential. Saruto by hers and thought as he leaned back in his chair, lighting his pipe full of tobacco. Sakura walked slowly through the city, wondering just what she was supposed to do about the situation with Naruto. I guess I got what I've wanted for a while. He stopped chasing after me, she sighed as she wandered the streets to a familiar location that she hadn't been to for a while. She looked up at the Yamanaka flower shop, hardly believing that she was here of all places. She sucked it up and walked through the front door, hearing the bell ring as she did. Welcome to the Yamanaka flower. Forehead, Ino called out, caught off guard by the appearance of the pink-haired girl. What do you want, Forehead? The blonde asked her rival. Sakura said nothing as she glanced at her friend before looking back down. Ino raised an eyebrow at this. That's weird. Hey Forehead, you alright? What happened? Sakura glanced once more at her rival before speaking. I have a question, Ino. Ino raised an eyebrow again, noticing the lack of insult from Sakura. Something is really bothering her. Ino sighed as she folded her arms and leaned against the counter, staring at the pinkette. Go ahead. Sakura looked up at Ino and took a breath. Do you think I abused Naruto? Ino was taken aback by the question. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Ino exclaimed. I don't know, Sakura. In a way I guess you could say that you do, but Naruto's doesn't really seem to give you any other choice from what you've told us. Sakura shook her head. Would you do the same thing as I have? Ino again had not been expecting Sakura to ask her this. Well, I don't think I would have. I sometimes wonder why he chooses you over me. Ino joked. Then again, you and I are different people and we do things differently. What brought this on though? Sakura sighed, trying not to cry in front of her one-time friend. Naruto got really angry at me and told me that he was sick of the abuse I give him. Ino's eyebrows skyrocketed. He said that. I don't know, Sakura, he worships the ground you walk on. Naruto's changed though, came a voice from the front of the store. Sakura turned around to see Shikamaru and Choji had just walked into the store. Really? How so? Ino asked. Shikamaru shrugged. It's pretty weird, but lately Naruto's been training pretty hard. Not just in jutsu, but apparently he's been working on his skills socially and morally. It's impressive. Choji nodded as he munched on his chips. He's really improving. I bet he could beat the four of us. Hino scoffed. The dead last from the academy. I really doubt that. He was horrible in all the subjects and he failed 3 times. He only got through this one with remedial work. Shikamaru shrugged. Think whatever you want, but I'm sure as his teammate, Sakura has noticed a huge difference. I'm pretty happy that he ditched the jumpsuit as well. Hino's jaw dropped. He ditched the thing. What's he wearing now? She asked as her fashion sense kicked in. Shikamaru sighed. I don't pay attention to that troublesome stuff, it's too troublesome. Hino glared at her teammate. Everything is too troublesome for you. Shikamaru said nothing as he turned to Sakura. To answer your question with my own answer, yes, you did abuse Naruto. He hasn't really had the best life, but he saw something within you. Too bad I don't see the same thing. You're a good person, Sakura, you should start acting like one. Sakura started to tear up, but Shikamaru continued. Look, I'm not trying to hurt you, but you need to know that half the time Naruto even spoke to you he was just trying to be nice, but you always assumed he was trying to get a date with you. I sometimes wonder why he tried for so long, anyone else would have stopped trying. Shikamaru sighed again. I'm assuming he at least wants to be polite. Sakura nodded, not trusting her voice. Well, I would rather have that than him outright hating me. He's improving quickly enough that he would be a bad enemy to have. Choji finished his bag of chips and glanced at Ino. Naruto was talking about trying to find another girl to start trying to go out with. You're available, aren't you, Ino? Ino went red at this and started yelling at the portly Akamichi. No way, Choji. I love Sasuke, not Uzumaki. Choji just tilted his head to the side a bit. Well, he's a nice guy, you just need to talk to him once in a while to get to know him, he suggested. No, Shikamaru chuckled. Stop trying to play matchmaker, Choji. It'll be way too troublesome for all of us if those two got together. Choji chuckled. You're right, Shikamaru. The 2 loudest people in Konohagakure dating, that's something nobody needs to experience. Naruto sneezed as he finished up the last of his training for the night. I better not be catching something, he thought to himself. Naruto pulled his jacket on, wincing at the pain in his limbs. Ugh, pushed myself too hard. I shouldn't have increased the weights that much today, he thought miserably. He started walking through the forest, wincing at the popping of his joints. I wonder if this is how Lee feels at the end of the day. Naruto pondered with a grin on his face. Taking the same route, he made his way to the village, trying to figure out what he was going to eat at Ikaraku's in a few minutes when he got there. Naruto just shook it off. I'll just ask for anything, he declared to himself. Grinning with renewed vigor, he took off into the trees, craving the noodles that he missed. It took only a few short minutes to reach the village gates and a few seconds for the ramen stand to be within sight. Then, he stopped when he saw his pink-haired teammate standing next to the stand. Great, there goes that idea, Naruto thought glumly, not wanting to deal with her. Naruto, she called as he turned around to walk away. Fuck. Naruto turned back around to see Sakura walking towards him. He narrowed his eyes at her. What? She reached him and looked at him for a moment before speaking. I'm sorry for hitting you so much. Naruto raised an eyebrow. She's apologizing. I know I shouldn't have hit you, I just kept thinking you were going to ask me out every time you spoke to me. Naruto returned to his glare. That's what you're apologizing for, hitting me so often. Sakura nodded at this. That's not the only thing you did, Sakura. Until you can figure out just exactly what you did, entirely, I won't even consider forgiving you. Sakura glared at him. I'm trying to apologize to you and you just shoot me down. Naruto started to walk away when Sakura grabbed his wrist, trying to prevent him from leaving. Listen, Naruto. No, you listen. I am sick of being your punching bag. I'm not forgiving you for this at all. Naruto wrenched his arm from her grip and started walking away. I'll see you tomorrow at the training grounds. Naruto took off to the roofs of the village, the anger burning him inside. Sarutobi watched Naruto through his crystal ball, a frown on his face. Do you think he'll be able to learn how to control it? He asked the one-eyed Jonin next to him. Maybe. It's hard to say, Hokage-sama. I'm sure it may be hard at first, but he is his father's son. I'm certain he'll find a way to do it. Naruto was walking home from the Hokage mansion, covered in scratches courtesy of a cat by the name of Tora. Fucking cat. Wouldn't scratch Sakura when she held it, but the second I get close it attacks me. The cat would of course attack Sasuke and Kakashi, but only if they were holding the cat. The beast seemed to have an uncanny hatred for Naruto that Sakura had seemed to comment on continuously. Over the month that Squad 7 had been together, things between Sakura and Naruto were rocky at best. There were times when Sakura would seem to have forgotten the fights that they had gotten in and would say something, well, not necessarily polite, but neutral towards Naruto. Other times, however, she seemed to have an undying hatred for said blonde. Thankfully for both Naruto and Sakura, she didn't yell at him often, and when she did, Naruto would just glare at her and point out her large forehead to shut her up. Sasuke had at one point approached Naruto after a mission and asked why Naruto was being so hostile towards Sakura lately. Flashback. I can't really say for certain, but I've just grown tired of taking her abuse so often. It just sends me over the edge and I can't really control what I say to her. It just seems to spill out and there's just no end to it in sight. Sasuke raised his eyebrows at this and shrugged before calling him a dope and walking off, leaving an upset blonde Genin flipping him off. Flashback end. Naruto sighed as he arrived at his apartment building and began to ascend the stairs. First things first. Change, eat, then train. The blonde said as anger clawed at him again. If I don't get strong enough, I won't be able to prove my worth to my father. He fumbled with his key and opened the door to the small apartment. He threw his coat on the bed and changed into his training gi. He then grabbed a cup and filled it with water. Raising it to his mouth, he paused and stared at the water inside the cup. Smiling to himself, he used his chakra to pull the water into his palm and activate his Suten Henryu. Naruto let the jutsu dissipate, drenching his hand in the cool water. He refilled his cup and drank the water in one go. Wiping his mouth, he grabbed his kunai holster and adjusted his hit. Glancing at his weights, he altered the weight, decreasing it until they felt non-existent. Guy told me to train once in a while without them to get used to the speed. May as well do it now. Naruto opened his window, planning on returning through said window. He jumped out the window, amazed at how light he felt. Holy shit, he thought as his eyes widened. This is so cool. He landed on a building a block away from his apartment. Grinning, he jumped down to the street below and took off at high speeds, making him into a black and yellow blur to many. There were many things Anko Mitarashi did not enjoy. People who judged her for her sensei's actions were one. Those that hated Dango, the holy treat of the world. The list went on and on. But one thing she hated surfaced to her mind when some idiot knocked her aside by not watching where he was going. Punk-ass Genin. She screamed mentally as she looked at the dango that she had been carrying that was now currently on the ground, covered in dirt. She began to grind her teeth as she withdrew a kunai from its holster. Time to die, she said under her breath. With that said, she took off at high speed after the blonde-haired genin that had bowled her over. Naruto felt bad for knocking over some lady that had just exited a dango shop, but he didn't have time to stop. There was little daylight left and he needed to train a bit more on the katen jutsu that he was working on along with more katas for his still unnamed taijutsu style. He grinned when he reached his private training spot. Alright, time to start working on. He did not get to finish his sentence however as he heard a kunai whistling through the air. He threw himself to the side and quickly recovered his own kunai in hand when another kunai nicked his cheek. Sensing someone behind him, he performed a quick kawarami and threw his own kunai at who had been behind him a second before. It turned out to be the woman he had accidentally knocked over, and she was very talented as she had caught the kunai by the blade between two fingers. Naruto gulped, already sensing that he was outmatched. I already feel like I'm facing Kakashi all over again and I haven't even seen this chick fight. The smile on her face seemed innocent enough, but her outfit contradicted her expression. That's a short skirt. And what the hell is up with the fishnets? Thankfully, Naruto was spared embarrassment. She was wearing a tan trench coat over her figure, obscuring what was quite obvious. Are you eyeing me? She asked sweetly, the smile still plastered on her face. Naruto gulped. His senses were going crazy at this point, all of them pointing towards danger. Look, I'm sorry I knocked you over, but I was in a hurry, he said as he slowly backed up. Anko looked confused, a sweet innocent confused expression. She looked around the empty clearing. I can see that. It's so busy out here. What exactly did you need to do? Because there seems to be so much to do out here. Naruto gulped again, his heart racing. Training. I need to get stronger. Oh, she exclaimed in surprise. You're a shinobi. Well, so am I. Naruto nodded. I can see that, ma'am. Please, call me Anko, she said, the innocent smile back on her face. She's messing with me. Naruto screamed in his mind, fear clawing at his heart. I'm guessing you're a Jonin, Naruto said, as his hand reached for his kunai pouch. What gave me away? She asked as she tilted her head. Naruto grinned. The fact that you caught up with me is a good indication, or when you caught my kunai. Then, Anko began as her smile faltered. Let's get down to business. Naruto sprang into action first, aiming a kunai at her head, only for it to be deflected by his kunai that Anko had caught earlier. Naruto formed 5 bunshin and went into action. May as well see how well I fight without weights. Pushing himself as fast as he could go, he charged Anko who had jumped up onto a branch. Anko narrowed her eyes at the charging genin. Solid clones, huh? Interesting to say the least. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this genin. Faster than Naruto could follow, she launched a barrage of shuriken which dispelled the attacking bunshin. However, Naruto had gotten behind her and was aiming his punch at the back of her head. I'm not a Jonin for nothing, she thought to herself. Spinning around, she pushed Naruto's arm out of the way and aimed a palm strike at Naruto's chest. She struck to find that he had performed a kawarami. That was fast for a genin, she said loud enough for Naruto to hear her across the clearing. Then, Anko disappeared from Naruto's sight. His eyes widened as he knew her next move. Naruto jumped off of the branch just as it exploded. Shit, this bitch is trying to kill me. She reappeared just above Naruto, another palm strike aimed at Naruto's back. Naruto felt a huge flash of pain as she struck hard and without mercy. He plummeted to the ground and bounced off of the hard earth. He rolled to his feet, kunai flying towards his target already as he performed his hand seals. Anko narrowed her eyes as she used her speed to charge up to Naruto as he inhaled while striking the tiger hand seal. Before Naruto knew what was happening, he was pinned to a tree, a kunai in his right arm. They are he screamed out in pain. Anko glared at him. Shut it, brat. I'd have done this if you weren't trying to use jutsu. Naruto gritted his teeth as Anko got nose to nose with him. I fucking hate you, Genin. A bunch of whiny snot-nosed brats. Naruto glared at her. Fuck you. With that said, he headbutted her as hard as he could. Anko felt her nose break as she lost her concentration and fell to the ground. Fuck. That was unexpected. She leaped back up, a second after she hit the ground to find that she was surrounded by more cage bunshin. Anko wiped the blood pouring from her nose onto her sleeve. You're going to pay for that, Gaki. Naruto charged through the forest. It should take her at least a minute or so to find out that they're all cage bunshin and that I'm long gone. He jumped from tree to tree, thankful that he was getting used to the speed already. At least I've got a head start on Psycho Bitch back there. Suddenly, he received the memories of his last cage bunshin. Fuck. Already. It's only been 30 seconds. He pumped chakra into his legs to increase his speed, knowing that she was already gaining on him. He saw the lights from the village buildings and hoped onto the nearest roof and took off from there. Panting, Naruto knew to not stop until he was in a safe location. Can't go home, or she'll find out where I live. Damn it, I wish I could just split up into. Oh my god, I am so fucking dumb. Forming the sign that signified his signature move, he created 50 more bunshin. Scatter, he ordered. Anko watched from afar. Kid's got spunk, but that won't be enough to save him from me. She made the cross seal and created 5 cage bunshin of herself, who then disguised themselves as Naruto. Hunting time, they all said with a malicious grin on their faces. They all took off at tremendous speeds, hunting down each bunshin of Naruto's. It'll be hard for him to distinguish which are his and which are mine, she thought as she watched the commotion ensue. Naruto was panicking at this point. She's disguising herself as my own bunshin. Shit. Naruto had been assaulted by his bunshin's memories, all of them depicting another of his bunshin attacking them. Just great, Naruto thought as he spotted a bunshin nearby and impaling it with a shuriken. It dispelled and revealed that it was one of his own. Damn it. He looked around as he continued through the city. People looked on in confusion at all the Narutos running around. Naruto glanced up at the Hokage tower and felt suddenly relieved. Jai-sen can help me. He then bolted for the large red building. Anko smiled as one of her bunshin dispelled itself. Hokage tower. Gotcha. Anko disappeared in a shunshin, her smile not fading one bit. Naruto burst through the door to the Hokage's office just as he felt her presence behind him. Shit, he exclaimed as she pinned him up against a wall, kunai pressed up on his neck. Anko, Naruto. What is the meaning of this? The Sandim yelled as he stood up, pipe in hand, papers littering the floor. It seemed that the two of them had interrupted some paperwork. Anko opened her mouth to speak, but Naruto beat her to the punch. This crazy bitch is trying to fucking kill me for no damn reason. Naruto, Anko is one of the finest kunoichi in this village. The Hokage reprimanded. Yeah, well, she's still crazy. I didn't do anything. Anko smiled over at the Hokage sweetly, causing the old man to sigh. Anko, please release Naruto-kun, he said tiredly. She glanced back at the boy she had pinned, as if considering killing him then and there. Finally, to Naruto's relief, she dropped him and stowed her kunai in her jacket. Thanks for the exercise, kid. Maybe we can do it again sometime, she suggested with a wink. Naruto simply glared at her as he brushed dirt off of his clothes. What kind of psycho is she? He wondered as she bowed to the Hokage and walked out of the room. The Sandim shook his head and turned to the blonde genin in his office. Naruto, I would suggest you don't antagonize Anko. She's a very temperamental individual. Naruto glared at the closed door that Anko had exited. Yeah, sure. Without another word, Naruto walked to one of the windows that happened to be open. I'll see you around, Jai-sen. That said, Naruto jumped out of the window, landed in the street, and took off at high speeds to finally start his training for the day. The Sandim watched thoughtfully before speaking. How do you think Naruto fared against Anko? He asked. A voice belonging to a silver-haired Jonin answered him. To be honest, I've learned to not be surprised by our maverick shinobi. Since the bell test, I've been keeping a close eye on him just like you asked me to. His training is yielding some interesting results, to say the least. The Sandim nodded. Any sign of him tapping into the Kyuubi's chakra? He asked. Kakashi shook his head. Not yet, but his temper is still flaring up frequently. Haruno Sakura seems to trigger these outbursts, but I think that there's nothing to worry about it. After all, he is Sensei's son. Yes, Saruto by Hiruzen said. He really is Minato's son. Naruto sighed as he continued pulling weeds from the soft dirt below him. He glanced over to his left to see that his squad mates were still suffering a similar fate. These missions are absolutely pointless, thought the young blonde genin. He continued pulling weed after weed as the sun beat down on him. His knees were aching from crawling around the large yard, keeping an eye out for more of the pests. He wiped his forehead, freeing it of sweat for the moment when he heard a poof behind him. He turned to see his sensei standing near him. Good work, Squad 7. Seems like our work is done, Kakashi declared as he continued to read Make Out Paradise as usual. Naruto smiled to himself. Another worthless mission completed. He pushed himself up, feeling the weights he wore attempting to keep him down. Popping his neck, he walked to his teacher to ask him a question. Kakashi noticed him walking towards him and closed his book with a snap. Something wrong, Naruto? He asked. Naruto hesitated as he stopped in front of his teacher. Well, I was just wondering why we don't do much training and we continue to do these worthless missions. He mumbled. Well, he certainly is maturing. In a sense, Kakashi thought to himself, Naruto, these missions are quite important to the village. It's more of a profit to accept these missions rather than turn them down and wait for higher ranked ones. Naruto groaned. You've told me that before, Kakashi-sensei, but you never tell us why we never trained together. You haven't really taught us anything. Kakashi was silent for a moment before smiling at the genin. These missions are for training Naruto. They help train our teamwork. Naruto stared blankly at the silver-haired jonin. There are other ways as well though. He thought to himself. Sasuke and Sakura had listened to the entire conversation, opting to stay quiet and listen to Kakashi's answer. Well, let's get going to the Hokage, shall we? Kakashi said lazily as he reopened his book and began to walk away. Naruto and the others followed him, each of them complaining silently to themselves. Naruto glanced over at Sasuke, who seemed to be brooding as always. I could try asking him to be a sparring partner, but he's such a jerk. Naruto then glanced at Sakura, who had been spending half of the mission glaring at him, while the other half was spent trying to talk to Sasuke. Sakura's too much of a hassle to even attempt thinking of asking. Guess I'll keep working with Guy-sensei and Lee. Naruto saw something dart past them and groaned upon recognizing it. Nuo. Tora escaped again. Man, if we get another mission where we have to capture that fur ball, I'll fucking kill it. Sasuke was thinking among the same lines, having seen it dart past them. He had even considered throwing a kunai after it to save them future missions. They reached the Hokage tower quickly and went inside. They navigated through the many hallways until they reached the room where they were to report for missions. Kakashi opened the door to reveal the large room, where at one end was a large table where 3 figures sat. Naruto knew the first 2 quite personally. Yumino Uruka and Saruto by Hiruzen were discussing something with the third man whom Naruto couldn't even recall the name of. Not that he cared in the first place. Squad 7 reporting the mission as a success, Kakashi announced, his book having disappeared since they had entered. The Sandaime Hokage looked over and nodded, while smiling at Naruto. He jotted something down and returned his gaze to Kakashi. Well, since it is the end of the day, I'll have to ask you to return tomorrow for more missions. However, I would like a word with Naruto and you, Kakashi. Sakura looked slightly confused and was about to say something when she noticed that the Sandaime's face had lost any semblance of a smile, and was replaced with a look of an extremely tired man. She looked over at Kakashi to see that his expression was unreadable as always. She didn't bother looking at her blonde teammate and decided to bow to the Hokage and follow an indifferent Sasuke out the door. Once the door was closed, the Sandaime Hokage stood up and walked around the table. Kakashi led Naruto towards the Hokage and met in the middle of the room. Naruto, I wish to speak with you and your sensei privately about your tenant. I would prefer to continue to my office, if that is okay with the 2 of you. Kakashi nodded, while Naruto seemed slightly alarmed. It's nothing horrible, Naruto, don't worry, Kakashi assured him. Naruto slowly nodded as well, and the Sandaime smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. Hiruzen walked out the front door and started towards his office. Naruto followed right behind him while Kakashi held back for a moment when he noticed that his other 2 students were waiting for them. We're done for the day, so you 2 can head on home now. He walked past them with a wave. Sakura raised an eyebrow at their behavior. That's weird. Why does the Hokage want to talk to those 2 alone? She asked. Sasuke shrugged as he turned around and walked away, intending on training with the remaining daylight. Sakura sighed. Sasuke still doesn't talk to me. What am I doing wrong? She walked down the same hall Sasuke had just seconds before, planning on heading home to prepare for the next day full of worthless tasks. Kakashi closed the door behind him and turned towards the Hokage. Hiruzen sat down as he extracted his pipe from his robes and quickly lit the contents. Tobacco permeated the air around them and Naruto wrinkled his nose slightly. The Hokage gestured for Naruto to sit across from him, which he did. The reason I wanted to speak to you, Naruto, is that lately you have been getting more aggressive. Surely you have noticed this as well. Naruto nodded. What does it have to do with the Kyuubi? He asked. The Sandaime sucked on the pipe, inhaling the tobacco, filling his lungs with it. He breathed out the smoke, causing the smell of tobacco to intensify. The Kyuubi's chakra seems to be seeping out slightly whenever you feel intense emotions, in these instances, anger. We believe that you may be able to start accessing the demon's chakra soon. Naruto's eyes widened. What are we going to do? He yelled out as he stood up. Nothing, said the aged Hokage. What? But this isn't good, is it? Naruto asked. Kakashi picked up at this point. Naruto, as you know, you are a Jinchuriki. Although, you were not created as most Jinchuriki are. In fact, your seal is unique, so we don't know if it was designed to allow you access to the Kyuubi, but I'm sure that we can safely assume this. Jinchuriki are usually created to serve one specific purpose, to be a weapon for their village. You, on the other hand, were given a demon to protect the village, not to become its weapon. Well, not in that sense, that is. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. In that sense, he asked. Kakashi's eye bore into Naruto's. Ninjas are usually seen as weapons for their respective nations. That is what we are, and it is a difficult truth. Naruto was about to reply when the Sandaime Hokage spoke up. Now is not the time for philosophies. I felt that you should know what is happening to you, Naruto, to better prepare you for the coming day. That is why I have told you. Naruto sat in silence as the Hokage and his Jonin instructor watched him carefully. So, I'll be able to use the Kyuubi's chakra. I'm not sure what that means though. Naruto spoke up after several minutes of silence. What's the benefit of being able to use his chakra when I can just use mine? The Sandaime inhaled more of the smoke from his pipe before answering. Demonic chakra is much more potent than our own Naruto. It was said that the Kyuubi no Kitsune could cause landslides and tsunamis by merely waving its tails. That is the type of power you will be accessing, however I doubt you'll be able to get that amount of power. Realization dawned on Naruto. But, I will be stronger. He asked for confirmation. The Sandaime nodded. There have been Jinchuriki before and it is said that everything from speed to power, even jutsu, are amplified thanks to the power of the Biju contained within. What about the risks involved? Naruto asked quickly. What do you mean? Kakashi asked, curious about why he had asked such a question. Naruto shook his head. I can't believe that power like that doesn't have a drawback. I mean, take the chakra gates for example. Opening one grants amazing strength, but it takes a toll on the muscles. I'm sure there's a drawback to using demonic chakra. Kakashi and the Sandaime both smiled at Naruto's reasoning. That, Naruto, is indeed a great observation and a wise question. Naruto's shock appeared on his face, but turned quickly into happiness. The Sandaime took a moment to look at the boy. He had definitely changed in the month he had been with Squad 7. While demonic chakra does give you amazing abilities, it does indeed have drawbacks. Humans aren't demons, and their bodies tire quickly using demonic chakra. It's like a slow-acting poison, which is why having a Jinchuriki could be a risk. But, I trust in you to know when to not use the Kyuubi's chakra. You are the son of the Yondaime Hokage after all. Naruto grinned. Thanks Jai-sen. The Sandaime Hokage chuckled at the young blonde. On another note, Kakashi and I have been observing some of your training, and I must say that we are both impressed at your progress. You've learned quite a few jutsu since joining the squad Naruto. Naruto was shocked. I never sensed anyone watching me other than Shikamaru that one time, but I lost him. Kakashi chuckled at the look on the blonde's face. Don't worry Naruto, there's a good reason why you didn't detect us. But for now, just put that at the back of your mind. Naruto nodded slowly, wondering how they could have been watching him all this time. How much did they see? He wondered. Naruto, I look forward to hearing about how well you used your jutsu when you get back from your next mission, the Hokage said. This brought Naruto's attention back to the present as he had been lingering on possibilities of why he had never sensed the two. Naruto scowled for a moment. What seems to be the matter, Naruto? The Sandaime asked, fully aware of what was on the blonde's mind. How the hell am I supposed to use jutsu on the missions we've been going on? Tracking down a cat, weeding a garden, delivering dog food and groceries. Naruto grumbled as he squinted in anger at the Hokage. Kakashi chuckled at this as Naruto rounded on his sensei, eyes blazing with childish anger. Kakashi waved his hand. Sorry, just remembered something from Ika Ika Paradise. Naruto stared at him for a moment, his bottom lip sticking out in a thoughtful pout as Sarutobi spoke up. Well, if you feel that these missions are far too easy, then I can always assign you a more challenging mission. Naruto looked at the Hokage, the words still processing in his mind. Finally, realization dawned on him and his face lit up with gleeful joy. Really? No more painfully boring and redundant D-ranked missions, Naruto exclaimed. Sarutobi and Kakashi both knew that Naruto had been studying on certain things, but hearing him use more difficult words as Naruto had once put it, was astonishing to both of them and showed them even more just how far along Naruto had come. Why, yes Naruto-kun, tomorrow you and your squad shall receive a C-ranked mission. Kakashi smiled behind his mask as Naruto began bouncing around the room. Still a ball of energy, he thought to himself as his copy of Ika Ika Paradise appeared in his hand. Now where exactly was I? He wondered as he disappeared in a shunshin. Naruto noticed Kakashi leaving and settled down a bit, still grinning from ear to ear. Naruto, this may only be a C-ranked mission that I'm giving you, but please, be careful out there, the Hokage asked in worried tone. Naruto gave the Hokage a thumbs up. Don't worry about me, Jai-san. I can't die until after I've become the best Hokage ever. Without waiting for a response from the old man, Naruto ran out of the room, Sarutobi knowing that Naruto was off to train yet again. Naruto yawned as he walked through the village gates the next morning. Well, training is done for the majority of the day. Guess I should go wait for Kakashi-sensei and the others, he thought to himself as he walked up the main road in the village. He continued onward until he realized what was just a few blocks away from where he currently was. ICHIRAKUs, he cried out in realization. Faster than most villagers could see, Naruto bolted for his beloved ramen stand. Unfortunately for the blonde-haired genin, the ramen stand hadn't opened. Naruto pouted as he stared at the small ramen stand, wishing to any kind of god that the shop would open then and there with the day's first batch of ramen ready. Naruto, a voice greeted from behind him. Naruto turned quickly, his instincts gripping him as his left hand went for his kunai holster. He relaxed when he found that it was his teammate Sasuke. What do you want? Naruto asked in an irritated tone. Sasuke considered him for a moment, eyeing Naruto's kunai holster with disdain. Walk with me, he said as he proceeded down the street. Naruto watched him walk past, wondering why on earth Uchiha Sasuke would want to speak with Uzumaki Naruto. Shrugging it off, he followed his raven-haired teammate. Sasuke had been intrigued by the enigma that was Naruto. Sure, back in the academy, Uzumaki Naruto was nothing more than a class clown that couldn't even perform a basic henge without it turning into a prank. Hell, he had failed the final exam at least 3 times from what Sasuke had heard. Then, he had seen him on the bell test. Naruto had changed from a bumbling idiot to a half-decent shinobi. Sure, he hadn't gotten as close to the bells as Sasuke had, but Naruto had some tricks up his sleeve that had caught a Jonin off guard. He had performed an interesting Suten jutsu that Sasuke had heard of from Itachi when he was a child. It wasn't a legendary S-rank jutsu, but the fact that Naruto had performed it so easily was surprising. He must have learned it quite recently, as well as Naruto wasn't one to keep a secret. Sasuke remembered how whenever Naruto had learned something in the academy, he would flaunt it as much as possible. So, knowing that Naruto was a decent enough teammate, Sasuke had come to a decision. Sasuke needed to get stronger, and Naruto was obviously getting stronger quickly. "Naruto, I have a question for you." Sasuke spoke as he kept ahead of Naruto. Naruto grunted, letting Sasuke know that he was listening. "I noticed that you've gotten better, and I was thinking that maybe we could train together. See each other's training styles." Naruto stopped walking, knowing exactly what Sasuke was after. He remembered reading a book about the clan Sasuke was from, and it didn't exactly put them in a positive light. He just wants to copy any jutsu I show him in my taijutsu style. Fucking Uchiha. The book that Naruto had read had gone into specific detail about the Uchiha clan's Sharingan Daojutsu and how it would copy jutsu of any type. "Sasuke, fuck you. I know about your Sharingan and I don't feel like having my technique stolen and possibly used against me, so, I say, go fuck yourself, you bastard." Before Sasuke could inform him of his lack of Sharingan, Naruto had already taken to the buildings. "That is the last fucking time I try to actually be nice to that dope," Sasuke thought as he glared after the blonde. "I just wanted to make sure that at least one of my teammates wouldn't hold me back, and there is no way in hell I'm asking Sakura." HMPH. Sticking his hands in his pockets, he continued on his aimless path to kill time before he had to go to Squad 7's meeting place. Sakura yawned as she woke up that morning, her thoughts all on Sasuke. That is until she looked out her window to see Naruto standing on the roof talking to someone who seemed to be out of sight at the moment. "Fucking stalker Naruto," she screamed mentally. She grabbed her kunai holster off of her chair and withdrew one of the throwing knives. Opening her window, she could hear Naruto's voice as well as the voice of another male who seemed unbelievably loud. "And let the flames of youth brighten your day, Naruto-kun," the voice yelled. Before Sakura could locate the voice's origin, she heard the sounds of a Shunshin jutsu being performed. Her attention refocused on Naruto, who had just caught sight of Sakura. "What do you want, Naruto?" Sakura asked in a violent tone of voice. Naruto glared and looked at the house she was leaning out of. "So this is where you live? Interesting." Sakura glared at the venom in Naruto's voice but knew better than to antagonize him any further. "Since you're here, maybe you'd like to know that we have a C-ranked mission today," Naruto said as he turned away from her and disappeared, hopping from roof to roof. Naruto gritted his teeth as the anger seemed to be burning in his gut. "What the hell is it with me? Whenever she even talks I get so angry. If I ever did love her, that love has transformed into hatred. Ugh, why won't the burning stop?" His hand went to his stomach, as if to find something there, but all he felt was a shirt over an unblemished stomach. Shaking his head, he continued towards the training grounds to wait for the next few hours if Kakashi's current record was any indication. Naruto continued to play with his kunai as he sat in a tree away from his 2 other teammates. He continued to receive glares from the 2 of them and continued to ignore them both, keeping all of his focus on his kunai. He sensed Kakashi approaching and smirked. "I doubt it'll do anything, but it'll be a warm welcome." He waited a few more seconds before springing into action. He jumped up onto a higher branch before pouring his chakra into his legs to assist with the next jump. He pushed off the branch, rocketing into the sky, kunai in hand. Once he got through the foliage, he threw the kunai at the just emerged Kakashi. Kakashi merely caught the kunai on his index finger, no indication of surprise at all. "Good morning, Naruto. Excited for our next mission?" Kakashi asked. Naruto landed on the ground softly and crossed his arms. "You could say that, Kakashi-sensei," he said with a grin. Kakashi analyzed Naruto's demeanor for a moment before nodding. "It seems that he had a run-in with the rest of our squad earlier. He already seems fatigued, meaning he had a brief spurt of anger resulting in a minuscule amount of chakra from his prisoner to run through his system. Well, today is a special day for the 3 of you. I just returned from the mission hall and we have received our first C-ranked mission together," Kakashi said enthusiastically, his eye curving into what they had come to know as him smiling. Sakura's eyes widened when she realized that what Naruto had said earlier today had been true. "What's the mission?" Naruto asked. "We are to protect a bridge builder by the name of Tezuna from Nami no Kuni." Sasuke nodded, satisfied that he finally would have a mission that didn't involve weeding or babysitting. Sakura grinned, her thoughts mirroring Sasuke's and a few other thoughts involving said genin. Naruto stared at Kakashi before speaking. "So it's an escort and protect mission?" he asked. Kakashi nodded. "Yes. From what Tezuna-san told me, we will be protecting him from possible bandits and such until his bridge is completed." "Bridge?" Sakura inquired. Yes, Sakura, a bridge. It seems that Tazuna is a bridge builder and is currently constructing a bridge connecting Nami no Kuni to the Land of Fire. So, I want you to run to your homes and gather the supplies required for a C-ranked mission. I assume that the Academy taught you what to take on this type of mission. Kakashi asked. Sasuke and Sakura nodded. Naruto, however, did not. Noticing this, Kakashi made a note to talk to Naruto to see what else he may be lacking from the Academy. Excellent, I will meet you at the Eastern Gate in 1 hour. Sasuke and Sakura turned to leave, but Naruto walked straight up to Kakashi. There is no pride lost in asking for crucial information. There is no pride lost in asking for crucial information. Naruto recited in his head over and over. I'm guessing you slept through that particular class, right? Kakashi asked. Naruto shook his head. I think I may have skipped the day actually, he said as he suppressed a glare. Kakashi shrugged. Food, water, kunai, shuriken, a few scrolls, camping gear. It isn't much and we are only going on a C rank. Try to pack as light as possible though. Kakashi's eyes traveled to the bracers that Naruto was wearing under his clothes. I'm not taking off my weights. After all, it's only a C-ranked mission, Naruto said. Kakashi chuckled. Caught me in my own trap. You are maturing, he said in mock surprise. 1 hour, Eastern Gate, Naruto said as he took off at high speeds. Kakashi stood there, watching as Naruto jumped into the trees and increased his speed. You're on your way to making him proud. Kakashi then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto had gotten off on the wrong foot when he had met Tazuna the bridge builder. First off, he had insulted the blonde by asking if the team was a joke or if he was expected to leave his life in their hands. A kunai through his hat had quickly quieted the old man, followed by a glare usually reserved for Sasuke. The following 3 hours were full of awkward silences and palpable tension between everyone save for Kakashi. Well, this is interesting to say the least, Kakashi thought from behind his orange book. He continued to read it, unperturbed, when he noticed a puddle in the middle of the road. Naruto saw the puddle as well, and thought nothing of it at first until it struck him how warm it was outside. It hasn't rained in a while, and it's got to be at least 80 degrees right now. So why the hell is there a puddle here? Naruto looked back at Kakashi, who seemed to be relaxed and enjoying his book still. Well, if Kakashi-sensei hasn't noticed anything strange, then it's probably nothing. The group continued on, unaware of two figures rising silently from the puddle. Now, one of them thought. As if signaled, one of the men launched the other towards the leader of the group. Kakashi. Hearing the clinking of some sort of chain, Naruto and Sasuke reacted quickly. They grabbed Tazuna and threw him to the ground while pivoting just in time to see shuriken chain wrap around their sensei. Kakashi. Naruto yelled wide-eyed as the silver-haired Jonin was torn to shreds by the two near-identical men with breathing apparatuses covering a majority of their faces. One down, one of them muttered. Fuck. Naruto breathed as he withdrew a kunai. Sasuke, take care of the old man, I've got this. Before Sasuke could argue, Naruto had taken off towards the two men. Time to see if I can actually fight enemy shinobi, Naruto thought to himself. He threw a kunai at the one to his left and jumped into the air, only to be impaled by a flurry of shuriken from the man on the right. Naruto disappeared in a plume of smoke, revealing that he had performed a kawarami. The two men rocketed towards Sasuke, who was currently guarding a scared Sakura and Tazuna. Oh no you don't. Naruto's voice rang out. One moment, the path towards their kill was clear. The next moment, Naruto had just planted his foot in one's face while his hand had found its way around the other's throat. Mizu, the one whose throat was being handled by Naruto, widened his eye in surprise before being thrown to the ground. Mizu recovered and tried to jump back, only to find that he was still chained to his brother. Fucking brat, he thought as he released the chain and positioned his poison claw to tear through the blonde genin. He didn't get the chance, however, as everything suddenly went dark for him and he was met with blissful unconsciousness. Naruto glared at Kakashi, who had just taken his first chance at a real fight. Well, at least he didn't die. Naruto exhaled, glad that he hadn't lost his first real teacher other than Iruka, who treated him properly. Good job, Sasuke, Naruto. Although, next time I wouldn't just charge in like that, just in case they're stronger than you realize. Naruto nodded, knowing not to disregard Kakashi's advice. We thought you died, Tazuna yelled as he stood up shakily. Why did you have us believe you were killed by those two? Kakashi glanced at Tazuna before disappearing and knocking out the remaining brother, who was still under Naruto's grip. Naruto released him when he saw what Kakashi had done. First off, I wanted to see how my team would react in the event of my death. Secondly, I wanted to find out who they were targeting. Were they targeting one of us ninja or someone else? At this, Kakashi glared at Tazuna. It was quite clear who their target was, Tazuna-san, and I recall this being a C-ranked mission which did not involve enemy shinobi. Tazuna gulped and Naruto narrowed his eyes. You withheld information, didn't you? He asked the old man. Tazuna sighed. Yes, I did lie when I requested this mission. Why? Sakura asked. Because the cost of a higher-ranked mission would have been too much for our village. We're a poor nation and this bridge would help our economy immensely. Kakashi glared down at the old man. You may as well explain what is going on then. Tazuna nodded. Yes, well, you see, a very powerful man wants me dead. It's because I'm building the bridge. It will damage the hold he has over us all. Who is this man? Sasuke asked as he glanced at the two downed shinobi. His name is Gato. Kakashi's visible eye widened, as did Sasuke's. Gato, the billionaire that specializes in importing. Tezuna nodded. The same. He came to Nami no Kuni under the guise of an innocent businessman, looking to help us all. But, when he got a hold on us, he sucked us dry of all of our resources. He controls what goes in and out of Nami no Kuni, as it's a small island, surrounded by nothing by the sea. Kakashi nodded, understanding what was going on. So, this Gato feels threatened by you and the bridge because it will basically mean that he has no hold over any of you? Sasuke asked. Tezuna nodded. Kakashi sighed at this point. If you had told us the entire story, this would be classified as an unranked mission. I should go back to Konoha and report this. Tezuna whimpered slightly at this. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said loudly. What is it, Naruto? Kakashi asked, turning towards his student, knowing full well what he was about to suggest. I say we continue with this mission. Sure, he withheld information that could have gotten us killed, but we did eventually find out all of the facts, and I believe that our squad is capable of handling this mission. Sasuke nodded as he walked over to Naruto. I agree, he said simply, his hands in his pockets. Kakashi chuckled. What about you, Sakura? Do you believe, as these two do, that you're all ready for this type of mission? He looked at the pink-haired genin who seemed to be fighting an inner battle. Finally, she answered in a slightly shaky voice. Why, yes, I believe that we can protect Tezuna on this mission. Kakashi nodded. Well, I guess it's 3 against 1. Tezuna-san, you're in luck. Thank you so much, Tezuna said, as he felt his eyes well up slightly. Kakashi waved his hand dismissively. Don't mention it. We should get on our way. Kakashi quickly tied the 2 demon brothers using ninja wire and sent a signal for NBU to pick them up. Well, with that handled, let's continue. No. Naruto grinned and took the lead, seemingly back to his old carefree self. However, Kakashi could tell that he was thinking the same thing that he was. Those 2 shinobi were the first wave. The next attack will carry a more experienced and more powerful ninja. They continued on for a few more hours until the air seemed to moisten. Kakashi smiled at this, knowing that they were close to where they would stop walking and continue on in a boat. Naruto had never seen the sea before, and even though there was a lot of mist, he was excited. He tried not to show the others, trying to be a proper shinobi, but it wasn't really his style. Wow, so this is the ocean? He asked in awe. Tezuna chuckled at this. This is nothing. If it weren't for the mist, you'd be able to see Nami no Kuni from here no problem. Now, when we get to Nami no Kuni, you need to go to one of the beaches that don't have a problem with mist. The sea is vast and stretches farther than you can imagine. Naruto had heard of the sea before in stories and such, but he didn't really give it much thought. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. Still, he was impressed nonetheless at the mere feeling of being near so much water. In the distance, they heard an engine rumbling. That would be my associate here to pick us up, Tezuna said as he squinted, trying to see through the light mist. They continued onwards along the small beach that they had arrived at until they found a small boat just barely big enough for the man driving it, Squad 7, and Tezuna. Naruto said nothing as Tezuna greeted the man as an old acquaintance would as he looked back at the forest, wondering when the next ambush would be. Zabuza glared at the short man that had hired him. The fool. If he continues his attempts to intimidate me, I may just kill him and be on my way. Gato was currently berating him for sending the demon brothers after the bridge builder. Apparently, Mizu and Guzu had failed to kill the old man and had been apprehended. So, the bridge builder hired shinobi for protection. Zabuza thought to himself as he grasped his large sword he had received when he had become one of the Kiri no Shinobigatana Nanin Shu. With speed and strength that had claimed countless lives, he swung the sword so that the tip was a hairsbreadth away from Gato's forehead. Quit your complaining. I, Mamachi Zabuza, Kirigakure no Kijin, shall deal with these shinobi that Tezuna has hired. Zabuza smirked at Gato, who looked ready to soil himself. Gee, good. That's what I like to hear, he said as he stepped back. The 2 samurai behind him had their hands on their katanas. However, they looked unsure and intimidated thanks to Zabuza. See to it that he is killed, Gato ordered as he attempted to regain his composure. With that said, he turned heel and stalked out of the room, his guards following him quickly. Zabuza got to his feet and popped his neck as he shouldered his blade. Let's see what these shinobi have to offer. Naruto grumbled to himself as his stomach seemed to growl at him. Wish Ikaraku's had been open when I dropped by. It would have been nice to have some ramen before this mission started. I haven't eaten since I woke up before training. His stomach rumbled again, causing him to grit his teeth in annoyance. He looked back at the other 4 to see that Sakura was speaking to Tezuna about his country while Sasuke seemed to be brooding, which was nothing new. Kakashi, however, something seemed off with him. Sure, his book was out, but Kakashi's eyes weren't even on it. In fact, they seemed to be darting here and there, as if searching for something. His posture wasn't relaxed as it normally was. It was tense, as if expecting someone to attack at a moment's notice. Naruto slowed down a bit until he was side by side with his sensei. I'm guessing you figured it out as well, Kakashi asked in a low voice, without looking at his blonde student. That those 2 weren't the last. I figured that if this guy really wants Tezuna dead, then he'd have more goons coming after him. Plus, if he's rich enough, he could probably afford some strong shinobi. Kakashi nodded. Good reasoning. Sasuke seems to have assumed the same. Naruto glanced at Sasuke. He's brooding. He's always fucking brooding. How can Kakashi tell any difference in Sasuke? Naruto continued to stare at his teammates back until he noticed something. Sasuke didn't have his hands in his pockets. His right hand was actually hovering right above his kunai holster, ready to pluck one out without hesitation. Oh, yes, that's a difference. Good idea though, Naruto admitted to himself. So what do we do if we are attacked? Naruto asked quietly. Guard Tazuna. It's very likely that the next shinobi will be a jonin like myself. You three wouldn't stand a chance against a jonin shinobi. Naruto grunted. I beg to differ. For now, just keep your senses keen. Naruto nodded at this advice and sped up a bit to get back at the head of the group. A few more hours passed of them just walking when Naruto sensed movement in the bushes to his left. Reacting quicker than even he expected, he let loose a flurry of shuriken and waited with bated breath. Did I get them? Sakura had jumped back in fright and was fumbling to withdraw a kunai while Sasuke had two kunai, one in each hand while Kakashi had simply stopped walking. What the hell was that for you, brat? Tazuna yelled as he pointed at Naruto. You nearly gave me a heart attack. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he slowly approached the bush and withdrew a kunai. Kakashi followed him as he parted the bushes to reveal. A rabbit, Naruto mumbled. A fucking rabbit. He looked down at a little white rabbit that seemed to have fainted out of fear. Naruto felt his temper flare. What the hell? I freaked out over a goddamn rabbit. Kakashi, however, narrowed his eyes as he stared at the rabbit. That's a snow hare. Its coat should be brown right now, not white. It's been kept as a pet, probably used for a kawarami. Sakura had gone to the bush and was consoling the small rodent when he heard it. It was low at first but was approaching fast. Get down, Kakashi yelled. Sasuke threw Tazuna and himself to the ground while Naruto shoved Sakura down while throwing himself down as well. Kakashi dropped down just as a large cleaver-like sword sliced through the air and embedded itself in a tree not far from him. Kakashi jumped up to find that a muscular man stood on the handle of the sword, looking down at them over his shoulder. Mamachi Zabuza. Kakashi breathed. Zabuza's eyes focused on Kakashi. Sharingan no Kakashi. Sasuke and Naruto glanced from Zabuza to Kakashi when they heard their sensei's alias. Sharingan. Naruto wondered. I thought Kakashi wasn't an Uchiha. The Sharingan is exclusive to the Uchiha clan. What the hell are they talking about? Thought Sasuke. Kakashi got into a defensive fighting stance as he raised his Hidayate to reveal his eye. His red Sharingan eye. Naruto and Sasuke widened their eyes when they saw this. So that's what the Sharingan looks like. Naruto thought in amazement. Cool. Heh, so that's the Sharingan eye. It truly is an honor to face it in combat. But couldn't you just hand over the old man? You see, I've been sent to kill him and it would be a shame to kill a shinobi such as yourself. Kakashi answered by withdrawing a kunai. Laughing, Zabuza shook his head. I knew that wouldn't work, but it was worth a try. Zabuza and his sword disappeared in a display of superior speed. Kakashi turned quickly to look at the ocean to his left where Zabuza was stood. Damn it, he's got a fair amount of chakra built up. Zabuza grinned as he went through the hand seals for his personal favorite jutsu. Hiragakure no Jutsu. Zabuza grinned as the mist already hanging in the air seemed to thicken. Kakashi tightened his grip on his kunai. Protect Tazuna. Kakashi ordered his three genin. Naruto had already taken up position in front of Tazuna, a kunai in one hand, his other hand flexing constantly in anticipation. Sasuke and Sakura quickly joined the blonde when the order was given, both of them with kunai in hand. Suddenly, Zabuza's voice floated towards them through the mist. There are 8 targets: liver, lungs, spine, clavicle vein, neck vein, brain, kidneys, heart. Which should I go after first? Kakashi brought his hands together in the sign of the ram as killer intent flooded the area. Sasuke and Naruto were hit hardest, their hands shaking. This is the end. Sasuke thought, I can't handle this. It's too much. This is the true power of a jonin. I just want to end it all to be rid of this feeling. Naruto wasn't faring much better. How can they be doing this? I want to die just to get out of here. This is what a true shinobi can do. Amazing. Sasuke, Naruto. Don't worry, Kakashi said. No matter what, I'll protect you, even if it kills me. I won't ever let my comrades die. Naruto and Sasuke both visibly relaxed at the soothing words of their sensei when they realized what was happening. Too late, Zabuza whispered from behind them. Naruto jumped and twisted in the air to see Kakashi shoving Tazuna aside while blocking a strike from Zabuza's sword merely with a kunai. Then quickly spinning it around, he lodged the kunai into Zabuza's ribs. Sakura had grabbed Tazuna and retreated to a safer distance while Sasuke was not too far from Naruto, having reacted in the same manner. Naruto watched as his sensei fought with the Rouge Jonin. Kakashi's eyes widened however when instead of blood, water leaked from the wound. A Mizu Bunshin, Kakashi exclaimed as Zabuza exploded into water. The next thing they all knew, Zabuza was swinging his sword through Kakashi. No, Sakura yelled in surprise. However, Kakashi exploded into water as well, causing Zabuza to widen his eyes. He copied it in this mist. He realized, it's over, Kakashi said as he held a kunai to Zabuza's neck. Impressive that you not only saw through my technique in this mist, but copied it and used it against me as well. However, Zabuza, once again, exploded into water as Kakashi's eyes widened. I'm not that easy to fool either, Zabuza said from behind the Sharingan wielder. Zabuza was in mid-swing with his sword when Kakashi reacted. Ducking under the blade, Kakashi kicked at Zabuza's stomach, aiming to incapacitate him. Zabuza's sword was embedded in the ground and he used it as leverage to dodge the kick by twisting around. He raised his leg and kicked at Kakashi, making contact and watching as the Jonin sailed through the air towards the water. Smirking to himself, Zabuza jerked his sword out of the ground and made chase. He was halted, however, when he saw that Kakashi had lain Makabishi on the ground. Naruto gritted his teeth as he and the others watched Zabuza disappear in a flash of speed while Kakashi landed in the water. I have a bad feeling about this, Naruto thought to himself. Kakashi quickly emerged from the water, frowning. Something's wrong. The water, it's heavy. Behind him, Zabuza appeared, flying through hand seals. You fool, he declared in a victorious tone. Kakashi's eyes widened as he realized the situation he was suddenly in as water seemed to surround him and bind him. Suiro no Jutsu. Zabuza grinned as he held the Kakashi in the water prison. The three of you, grab Tazuna and run. Naruto gritted his teeth as he watched Zabuza run through a series of one-handed seals. With only one hand, he thought in amazement. This guy is good. From the water rose an exact replica of Zabuza. Run, Kakashi yelled at his team. Naruto watched the Mizubunshin closely and realized that it was about to charge him. Fuck. Displaying speed that the original Zabuza had displayed, the Bunshin was on Naruto faster than he could react and was attempting to block the blows that were being rained down upon Naruto with surprising results. The real Zabuza raised his eyebrows in surprise. Interesting for a genin. However, the Bunshin quickly overwhelmed Naruto and had him pinned on the ground. Foolish boy, you think you can call yourself a shinobi? By the time I was your age, I had already dyed my hands in blood. Naruto gritted his teeth. Great, he's starting a monologue. Naruto glanced at Sasuke as Zabuza continued on his speech about how he had killed his graduating class. He mouthed something and Sasuke nodded as he withdrew a kunai. Teamwork, Sasuke acknowledged. Sasuke threw the blade at the Mizubunshin, which was quickly caught. However, it was followed by Sasuke appearing behind the Zabuza, aiming a punch at his neck. Zabuza jumped back, freeing Naruto from under his foot. The blonde jumped to his feet, withdrawing his own kunai and quickly dodging a hail of shuriken from the nuke nin. Naruto threw the kunai and followed up by his signature move, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 4 Narutos appeared beside the original. Sasuke, let's attack him together. The raven-haired Uchiha nodded, not bothering to verbally answer his teammate. Within seconds, the 5 Narutos were on the Mizubunshin, using their altered Goken style. The original Zabuza chuckled as he spoke to his prisoner. It seems that the blonde is quite the prodigy. Kakashi said nothing, opting to watch his students take on the Bunshin as he could do nothing else. Let's see exactly how Naruto will fare. Kakashi narrowed his eyes as Sasuke joined the fray, using his own taijutsu style combined with a kunai slash here and there. Naruto grabbed the arm of one of his clones and spun himself around after being thrown away by the Mizubunshin. Time to use chakra to push myself further. Naruto recalled his water walking and tree climbing training and focused his chakra in the soles of his feet. Now, Naruto rocketed towards Zabuza with his clones, each of them using coordinated strikes and combos to break the clone. Naruto narrowed his eyes as the clone grabbed one of his own clones. Then he noticed that the original Zabuza's attention was entirely on the fight. Bingo, thought the blonde genin. Zabuza chuckled when Naruto called upon more clones. Strength in numbers, a Kakashi. The Konoha Jonin said nothing as his eyes narrowed even further. They don't stand a chance. Why are they still fighting? They should have grabbed Tazuna and gone back to Konoha. When this is all done, I may leave one of them alive. Just to show some mercy on them, Zabuza chuckled. Zabuza looked over at his prisoner. Something wrong, Kakashi? Kakashi looked over at Zabuza for a moment before looking back at the fight. His eyes widened briefly when he caught sight of what Naruto was doing. I see. Zabuza looked back at the fight to see 3 Narutos charging him, running across the water. So he knows how to walk on water. Impressive for a genin, but it won't be enough. Suddenly, the 3 Narutos disappeared. Zabuza's eyes widened at this. Grasping his sword, he swung it around, keeping his one arm in the water prison and struck one of the Narutos that had just appeared behind him. It vanished in a plume of smoke, but another Naruto jumped out of the water and through the smoke. Using the sword as leverage, it jumped into the air, while running through hand seals. Zabuza, however, was quicker and threw his gigantic sword into the air where it killed the Naruto clone. One left, Zabuza thought. As if beckoned by this thought, the last Naruto rocketed up at Zabuza from right underneath him. Narrowing his eyes at the genin, he used his free hand to grab the boy by the neck and slam him back into the water. Fool, did you think that you could really surprise me with that ploy? Zabuza sneered. Zabuza realized that Naruto was smiling as he heard his sword hit the water. Zabuza glanced at his sword as it began to sink and swore when he heard something from the water. He looked back at the grinning blonde when he felt a spike of chakra. He looked down slightly at the boy's hand, where the water seemed to be spinning. Oh phew. Zabuza didn't have time to finish his sentence as Naruto's technique slammed into his chest painfully and threw Zabuza away. Naruto sunk slightly from the force of the technique, but used his chakra to re-emerge from the water. Naruto looked up to see a sopping wet Kakashi smiling down at him. Nice work there, Naruto. That was very clever. Naruto smiled and nodded at Kakashi, taking deep breaths of water after being held in the water by Zabuza. I think it's best you get back to the shore. Zabuza has just recovered. Naruto turned around to see Zabuza, having recovered his sword from sinking. On his chest was a large bruise from Naruto's technique hitting point blank. That brat actually hit me with his technique. Interesting that he already knows elemental manipulation. Once I'm done with his sensei, he'll be next. Naruto jumped away, landing on the shore where his remaining clones and Sasuke had just killed the Mizu Bunshin utilizing Sasuke's Katen, Gakikyu no Jutsu, and a well-placed exploding tag from the Naruto clones. The remaining clones puffed out of existence, letting Naruto gain the knowledge of how he had dealt with the Mizu Bunshin. Grinning, he watched as Zabuza and Kakashi exchanged a few words before proceeding with rapid hand seals that seemed to blur together. Suten, Suryudan no Jutsu. The two jutsu were created and clashed with each other, sending a shockwave that rocked the water and sprayed Squad 7 and Tezuna with water. This is a real shinobi fight, Tezuna thought in awe as the two Jonin met in the middle of the water, Kunai struggling against sword. Zabuza gritted his teeth as he tried to gain ground on Kakashi. Damn it, he jumped back just as Kakashi did and began to circle each other. He's got that sickening look in his eye. Zabuza's eyes widened when Kakashi finished his own thought for him. Zabuza began to run through hand seals for his next jutsu. All you're doing is copying me. You can't be me with your tricks. Kakashi finished for him. That's when he saw it. Behind Kakashi was him. What is this? That's me. Zabuza halted his hand seals for a moment, but noticed something else. Kakashi was finishing the jutsu. What? He's finishing my jutsu before me. How? Suten, Deibakufu no Jutsu. Kakashi finished the jutsu as the water began to churn. This can't be, Zabuza thought as the technique slammed into him and threw him like a rag doll. He painfully hit a tree as the water receded and Kakashi appeared on a branch above him, kunai out and ready. See, can you see the future? Yes, and I can see your death. Before Kakashi could react, two senbon needles fly into Zabuza's neck with a sickening pop. Naruto's eyes widened as he traced their trajectory back to who had thrown them. There, in another tree, stood what he had read to be a Kiri Hunter Nin. Wow, never thought I'd see one of those on this mission. Naruto thought as he remembered a book he had read a few weeks prior that included images of how Hunter Nin would dress. It seems as if you were correct about Zabuza-san's death, the Hunter Nin said as he used a shunshin to appear next to Zabuza's fallen body. Kakashi nodded as he pulled his Hitai-8 over his Sharingan. Looks like it's finally over. I thank you for handling him until now. I will, however, be taking it from here. You have my thanks. Kakashi nodded at the boy. He's young, yet strong. The boy hoisted Zabuza over his shoulder and made a sign for Shunshin. Kakashi sighed once the boy disappeared and walked towards the group. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Naruto chuckled at the silver-haired Jonin while Sasuke grinned and Sakura sighed. Tezuna could only shake his head at the shinobi. Well, at least they are as strong as they say, he thought to himself. Well, let's continue, Kakashi said as he stood still. Naruto noticed that something was wrong with the Jonin. Are you okay, Kakashi-sensei? As soon as Naruto asked this question, Kakashi fell forward on his face before mumbling. I think I may have overdone it. Naruto shook his head. I'll carry him from here. Tezuna could only sweat drop at this. Well, at least home isn't too far from here, thought the old man. No fucking way, Naruto yelled as he stared at his recovering sensei. It had been a full day of Kakashi being unconscious, and when he had woken up, his body was temporarily out of commission. I would do it if I could, Naruto, but I can't. Plus, you do know how to do it already, so you have the ability to show them. Naruto glared at Kakashi for a moment before countering. Even if I did agree, Sasuke and Sakura aren't the type to learn from what I've been dubbed as a dobe. Kakashi chuckled weakly. Once you show them what they need to learn, they will realize just how important it is. Naruto rolled his eyes. The problem is to get them to stop hating me long enough to show them and explain it. If I order them to listen to you for a few simple minutes, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Naruto huffed as he crossed his arms. By the way, there's something that's been bugging me since yesterday. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at this. What would that be? The Hunter Nin that took Zabuza's body. Something isn't clicking there. So, he figured it out as well. Surprising as he wasn't taught about Hunter Nins in the academy as they're exclusive to Kiri. What do you mean, Naruto? Kakashi asked, wanting to hear Naruto's conclusion for himself. Well, I remember reading a book about Kirigakure's Hunter Nins and what they do. Maybe the book was outdated and all, but I read that they destroy the body where it was found or killed. All they are supposed to take is the head, and it's not like it's hard to decapitate someone. I think that the Hunter Nin could have been a fake. Naruto stared at Kakashi, awaiting a reply, who was also waiting for Naruto to continue. A few minutes of silence from the both of them until Naruto finally broke the awkward silence. Well, what do you think? He asked nervously as he shuffled his feet slightly. You're right. Zabuza is most likely alive, Kakashi said simply. I'm surprised, Naruto. The fact that you came up with that on your own is speaking volumes about how much you've matured since I bumped into you that day at the Hokage mansion. Naruto blushed at this. It was only luck that I had read that book not too long ago. Kakashi smiled at this. Still, it's good that you're educating yourself. If I had not been able to reach that conclusion already, you could have just saved us. Naruto continued to shuffle his feet, not out of nervousness, but embarrassment. Well, the thing is that the senbon needles hit pressure points, and I regret that I didn't check for a pulse. I was already feeling the effects of the Sharingan hit me and it clouded my judgment. It was stupid on my end not to check. Naruto's eyes widened. After having watched Kakashi whoop Zabuza's ass, Naruto's opinion of his sensei had skyrocketed, and now, here he was, admitting fault to his mistake. Wow, I want to be a shinobi like Kakashi-sensei one day. That is why you need to prepare your teammates Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura need to be better prepared for the coming battle. Naruto sighed as he scratched the back of his head. Fine, whatever. You're going to have to convince them to somehow listen to me though, Naruto said in a defeated tone. Sakura sat in the kitchen and smiled at Tsunami, the daughter of Tazuna. When Squad 7 had arrived on her doorstep with her father, she had immediately adopted a motherly quality and began fussing over them all. When she had heard about how they had protected him from the demon brothers and Zabuza, she had begun fussing even more. She had immediately set up a room for Kakashi to rest in on his own so that he could recover quickly and then set her eyes on the 3 genin. She had fussed over Sakura first, probably because she was a female. While she was distracted, Naruto and Sasuke had slipped out for a few hours. Naruto had been the first to return, saying that he wanted to scout the area. Sasuke walked in not long after, not even bothering to give an excuse to any of them. Now, here was Tsunami, cooking a meal for lunch while Sasuke had disappeared and Naruto was upstairs talking to their finally conscious sensei. So is this your first time being out of your village, Sakura? Tsunami asked as she continued cooking. Sakura nodded. Yeah, I mean, this far from the village at least. I've gone to a town not far from Konoha with my parents a few times as a child, but I didn't do anything. Tsunami smiled. So what is Konoha like? Sakura thought for a moment, having never been asked about her village. It's big. Everybody is so nice there, and the boys are cute. For the most part, that is. Tsunami looked over her shoulder at the girl. For the most part, she inquired. Well, Sasuke is drop-dead gorgeous, and not a lot of guys in our village can compare. But the ugliest our village has to offer would be Naruto. Tsunami raised an eyebrow at this. You think so? Sakura nodded vigorously. Definitely. I would never date that in a million years. Before Tsunami could answer, a new voice interrupted. Don't worry, Sakura, you're definitely not my type to begin with, so you're safe. Sakura wheeled around to see Naruto entering the kitchen. He bowed politely to Tsunami before turning to Sakura. Kakashi-sensei wants to talk to you and Sasuke. Naruto glanced around the kitchen. Do you know where he went? Sakura shook her head. No, I don't. Naruto shrugged. I'll go find him, but he wants to talk to you two together, so stay here until I bring him back. With that said, Naruto left the kitchen and a moment later, they heard the door open and the close. Tsunami saw that Sakura was glaring into the hallway where she had last seen Naruto. I don't know what you mean, Sakura. If I were his age, I would definitely try going for him. Sakura turned and looked at Tsunami in shock. You're kidding, she exclaimed while Tsunami simply shook her head. He seems nice, and you have to admit he's cute with his blonde hair and blue eyes. Tsunami looked at Sakura as she began going through a list of why Naruto wasn't even close to cute. And one time, he painted the Hokage monument. Not to mention the horrible jumpsuit he used to wear. I'm waiting for its return honestly. Sakura, why do you hate Naruto so much? Tsunami suddenly asked. Sakura looked confused at the question. Well, it's just that he seems so polite, and you just seem to hate him with every ounce of your being. Sakura was silent for a moment before answering her. I don't hate him. It's just that, I can't really stand being near him. He used to pester me all the time for a date, and no matter how many times I yelled at him to knock it off, he would keep it up. Tsunami listened as the girl continued. Back then, I didn't really enjoy it, but it gave me a confidence boost in a way. Then, recently, it stopped, and he just started acting cold towards me. I don't know what happened, but something changed and now he treats me like garbage. At this point, Sakura had brought her knees to her chest. I hit him a few times, and I tried apologizing to him, but he just rejected it. Tsunami could see that the girl was hurting, but she couldn't really sympathize. After all, there are always two sides to a story. Tsunami thought to herself. She set down the knife she had been using to cut some celery and walked to the table and sat down next to the pink-haired Kunoichi. She snaked an arm around her and patted her shoulder. Well, if you're wondering if he hates you, I don't think he does. Whatever happened between you two will pass. I don't know all of the details and he may have a different view on the subject entirely, but he does seem like a decent human being. I'm sure that given time, he will come to forgive you. Sakura sniffed. Do you think so? She asked hopefully as she looked at Tsunami. The mother nodded with a small smile gracing her face. Just give it time. You two may work things out. Sakura sniffed again. Well, we were never really friends. I hardly ever talked to them, and when I did, I usually was berating him for being in my way or for pulling some stupid prank. Tsunami shrugged. We all do stupid things when we're young, we all figure that out at some point. For now, just be nice to him. It may take some time, but in the end, it will be worth it. Before Sakura could reply, the sound of the door opening was heard and Sakura realized that there were tears on her cheeks. Quickly wiping them in her eyes, she stood up, ready to talk with Kakashi-sensei. Sasuke and Naruto appeared in the kitchen, neither looking happy. Naruto walked past Sasuke and sat on the table while Sakura and Sasuke gave him a questioning look. Aren't you coming along? Sasuke asked. Naruto shook his head. He asked for the two of you specifically. Sasuke shrugged as he walked up the stairs while Sakura followed wordlessly. Tsunami sighed as she watched the pink-haired genin ascend the stairs silently. She turned to find that Naruto was currently cutting the celery she had left unattended. You don't have to do that. Tsunami exclaimed as she rushed towards the blonde. Don't worry, Tsunami-san. We are your guests and I feel that I should at least help you out with these types of things. Tsunami came up behind the boy to find that he was already finished cutting the celery. What exactly are you making? He asked her. Stew. She mumbled. What type of stew? Zabuza lay in a bed, his body unresponsive to his mental commands. Goddamit. He yelled mentally. At that moment, his protege, Haku, walked through the door. Upon seeing the look on Zabuza's face, he smiled sweetly down at his father figure. I'm sorry, Zabuza-sama, but I had to make sure that it seemed as if you were dead. Well, next time, don't be so brutal, Zabuza whispered. Haku sighed. The damage from that boy's water technique did more damage than I had anticipated and gave you a minor case of whiplash which worsened the after effects of the near-death state that I placed you in. If I had known, I wouldn't have aimed for your neck. Zabuza could only blink. Don't worry, Zabuza-sama, this should only last 2 weeks. 2 weeks of utter hell, thought the former Kiri shinobi. Sasuke and Sakura stared at Naruto as he led them to a clearing he had discovered the day they had arrived. I originally planned on training on my own here. However, circumstances have changed. He stopped and whirled around to face his 2 teammates. Well, seeing as how Kakashi-sensei is out of commission, I'll be taking over until he's back on his feet. Sasuke snorted at this as Naruto focused a glare at him. Something to say, team? Sasuke glared back before answering. I don't know why Kakashi is having a dobe like you teach us. Where are you supposed to teach us how to appropriately pull a stupid prank on someone? Naruto glared at the Uchiha for a moment before chuckling. Do you really think that Kakashi-sensei would have me teach you how to prank someone? Are you that stupid? Naruto asked, a grin etched on his face. Sasuke huffed. Well, I doubt you know anything that Sakura and I don't already know besides that water jutsu you used against during our bell test. Naruto shook his head. I'm going to ignore that for now, team. No, today, Kakashi wants me to train you on chakra control. Sakura and Sasuke both raised eyebrows at this. This time, it was Sakura who spoke. Chakra control. You've had the worst chakra control back in the academy, Naruto. What can you teach us? Naruto ran his hand through his hair. Well, to put it simply, Kakashi wants me to show you how to climb trees. Sakura and Sasuke stared at Naruto. They said nothing as they continued to stare at the blonde. See, climbing trees. Are you joking? Sakura yelled as she let her temper get a hold of her. Would you calm down? This is a different type of tree climbing. You aren't allowed to use your hands at all, Naruto said as he pulled out a kunai and began tossing it up in the air. What do you mean? Sasuke asked, not getting what he meant. Let me demonstrate, Naruto said as grabbed his kunai and put it in its holster. Naruto walked towards a tree, his expression blank. I can't wait to see their expressions, he thought to himself excitedly. He reached the tree and casually placed his left foot on the trunk, then the right foot. He slowly ascended the tree, using his chakra to climb vertically with his hands in his pockets. He reached a branch and walked along the bottom, and tilted his head up, so that he was looking down at an awed Sakura and an intrigued Sasuke. Priceless, Naruto thought to himself. All you do is simply focus chakra into the soles of your feet and walk up the tree. Although, I would recommend running up the tree to start off. You will be marking your progress with your kunai. Normally I should provide the kunai from what Kakashi-sensei told me, but I think you two are old enough to use your own kunai. Sasuke and Sakura glared at Naruto for the sarcasm. Naruto cut the flow of chakra and plummeted to the earth. Sakura's eyes widened, however, Naruto flipped so that he landed on the ground below. The impact left a small crater, which Sasuke filed away mentally for later. Interesting, thought the Uchiha as he plucked a kunai out of his holster. Without a moment's hesitation, he ran towards the tree while focusing chakra into his feet. He reached the tree and placed his foot on the bark. For a moment, he grinned, thinking he had succeeded. The next thing he knew, the bark where his foot was exploded and he was thrown back. Sasuke rolled to his feet and glared at the tree. Too much chakra and you're thrown off, too little, you slip off. It's definitely more difficult than you think, Sasuke, Naruto said. Sasuke raised an eyebrow when he noticed the tone of malice was missing. He's actually trying to help, Sasuke wondered to himself. Before he could think any more on the subject, Sakura's voice rang through the clearing. You know, this is a lot easier than I thought. Far above the ground was a grinning Sakura who sat on one of the higher branches, swinging her legs playfully. Naruto grinned as he turned to look at Sasuke. Well, looks like our precious Uchiha couldn't beat Sakura up the tree. Too bad. Up in the tree, a vein throbbed in Sakura's forehead. Damn it, Naruto Baka, don't make Sasuke-kun hate me. Naruto ignored her as he walked past Sasuke. It really is too bad, Naruto whispered to Sasuke. Sasuke gritted his teeth angrily as Naruto walked back towards Tezuna's house. Sasuke looked back at the tree he was supposed to be ascending. How am I supposed to beat Itachi when I'm stuck here climbing trees? Sasuke wondered angrily. Naruto walked through the front door to find a small boy glaring at him. Naruto gave him a small wave which only strengthened the boy's glare. Naruto felt mild irritation at this and was about to speak up when Tezuna walked in the room. I see you finally met my grandson Inari, he boomed. Naruto simply nodded, continuing to stare at the boy who would not stop glaring at him. Naruto walked past him and towards the kitchen where the stew he had assisted Tsunami with sat bubbling mildly. He walked up the stairs to find Tsunami exiting Kakashi's room. Oh, Naruto-san, she exclaimed when she noticed him. I thought you were out training with your teammates. Naruto shook his head. Kakashi-sensei asked me to show them a training exercise. I just need to ask him a question before I go and start my own training. Tsunami nodded, wondering what kind of training a shinobi went through. Well, I wish you the best of luck, she said with a motherly smile. Naruto smiled back, his thoughts drifting slightly to what it would be like to have Tsunami as a mother. He shook his head as she brushed past him. Composing himself, Naruto opened the door to Kakashi's room to find him trying to sit up. Shouldn't you be resting? He asked the Jonin. Kakashi grunted. Yes, but I just wanted to assess the damage to my body. Naruto raised an eyebrow. And what are the results? Kakashi groaned before giving up and flopping back down on his futon. I should be back to 100% in about 6 or 7 days. Naruto sighed. So, Sakura already scaled the tree. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at this. Well, that's unsurprising. What? You knew she'd scale that tree on her first try? He asked incredulously. Kakashi shook his head weakly. Not on her first try, but I knew she'd be able to get up the tree before Sasuke. Sakura seems to have precise chakra control due to her lack of reserves. Sasuke has larger chakra reserves and therefore a more difficult time at chakra control. Sasuke will have an easier time with this exercise than you for the same reason. Compared to you, his chakra reserves are minuscule. Naruto was silent and stared at Kakashi before speaking bluntly. Sounds like some weird penis measuring game to me. Kakashi's sweat dropped. Blunt, but he does have a point, Kakashi thought as his mind wandered to Ika paradise. So what should we have Sakura do? Naruto asked his sensei. Oh, I guess put her on guard duty with Tazuna for now while Sasuke continues to struggle with his training, Kakashi answered in a sweetly happy voice. You may not be any crazy bitch, but you still have your own way of being sadistic, Naruto said with narrowed eyes. Kakashi chuckled. That's right, you encountered Anko. Naruto's eyes widened. How did you know about that? Oh, I saw the whole thing unfold, Naruto, Kakashi said in a matter-of-fact tone. Whatever, Naruto sighed. Sasuke wiped sweat from his brow as he looked up at the tree riddled with slash marks. He had made it halfway up the accursed tree and was starting to feel a little lightheaded. The light of day was beginning to fade rapidly, meaning he would have to return soon for dinner, having skipped lunch. Hearing movement behind him, he saw Naruto emerge from the foliage. Any progress, team? The blonde Jonin asked. Where did Sakura go? Sasuke asked. Protect Tazuna. She completed the training already, so Kakashi-sensei figured it would be a waste of her time to stay here. Sasuke clenched his fist at this. How the hell does this exercise benefit me? He asked angrily. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. Well, I thought you would know. Sasuke glared at this. Grinning at the raven-haired Uchiha, Naruto began explaining. Well, if you master this exercise, you'll waste less chakra on your ninjutsu and therefore be able to use more jutsu. Also, you can use this technique to increase your speed in the midst of battle. Sasuke raised both eyebrows at this. I didn't think it would help that much. Sasuke looked back at the tree, determined to get to the top more than ever now. My advice, find your comfort zone, Naruto said suddenly. Sasuke glanced at Naruto before looking back at the tree. Naruto looked at Sasuke before elaborating. For instance, if you don't put enough chakra into it, you feel slightly off balance. While if you put too much chakra, it kind of burns in a way. You just need to find what feels right. Sasuke closed his eyes as he concentrated on his chakra, trying what Naruto had just suggested. He slowly added to his chakra output until he felt that comfort zone as Naruto had put it. Opening his eyes, he bolted for the tree and straight up. He kept climbing and climbing, approaching his last mark on the tree. Before he knew it, he had passed it and was continuing to ascend until 12 more feet up, he felt himself slipping. Slashing at the tree with his kunai, he marked his new record before flipping backwards and landing painfully on the ground. Nice, Sasuke. Better than I did when I found out about that little trick, Naruto said as he looked up at the new mark. Sasuke sat down on the ground, panting again as fatigue hit him. How long did it take you? He asked between breaths. Naruto looked at Sasuke before chuckling. On my first day, I definitely wasn't this far along, I can tell you that much. Sasuke looked up at the sky, where the first stars were beginning to appear. Well, we should probably be heading back to Tazuna's. Tsunami made some stew for lunch and we're having some for dinner as well, and let me tell you, it tastes fucking great. Naruto held out his hand, offering to help Sasuke up. The Uchiha considered the hand for a second before taking it and being hoisted off the ground. By the way, Naruto, I don't have the Sharingan, Sasuke said, recalling the outburst from Naruto back in Konoha the other day. Naruto blinked before chuckling and rubbing the back of his head. So, you were really just looking for someone to train with? He asked, feeling like an idiot. Sasuke simply nodded. But, it's clear that you and I wouldn't be able to stand each other for very long. Naruto laughed at this. Wow, Sasuke, you have a sense of humor. I can't wait to tell all of Konoha when we get back. I may even paint that on the Hokage monument. Sasuke shot Naruto a dirty look which only added fuel to the fire. Now I'm definitely doing it if that's the kind of reaction I'm getting from you for just suggesting it. Sasuke sighed. I guess Naruto is still just that. Naruto, Sakura heard the door open after having some stew for dinner which tasted divine in her own opinion. What surprised her was to find out that Naruto had helped make the delicious meal. Who knew that dope could cook? She had thought. She turned to see a worn-out Sasuke being supported by a grinning Naruto. Is Naruto really helping Sasuke? Sakura wondered as she rubbed her eyes. There you go, team, now we have officially arrived. Before Sasuke knew it, Naruto had ducked out from under Sasuke's arm, leaving him with nothing to lean against as he crashed onto the floor. Okay, I was mistaken, Sakura thought with a dirty look aimed at Naruto as she got up to help her precious Sasuke. Sasuke had already pulled himself up and sat down at the table as he stared hungrily at the big pot of stew in the middle of the table. Naruto plopped down next to him and grinned. I hope there's some left, Sasuke. It would be such a shame for you to have missed it all. Sasuke grabbed one of the bowls next to him and used the ladle in the pot to scoop the stew into his bowl before devouring it with gusto. Seems as if Sasuke has your appetite, Naruto, Kakashi said as he limped down the stairs using a pair of crutches. Kakashi-sensei, it looks like you've decided to join us at last, Naruto exclaimed in mock surprise. Chuckling, Kakashi sat down on Naruto's other side and looked at the stew as well. I have been upstairs resting all day, and no one seems to have remembered to bring their sensei some of this delicious stew, he said in a hurt tone. Okan, Kakashi-sensei, I saw Tsunami-san bring you some stew earlier when I brought Sakura back for lunch, Naruto pointed out with a grin. Kakashi struck a thoughtful pose before admitting defeat. You've got me there, Naruto. Grinning, Naruto stood up. Well, I'll be back in a few hours, he announced. Where the hell do you think you're going? Tezuna asked as he entered the room, and Ari trailing behind him. Shedding his red and black coat, Naruto grinned a fox-like grin. Well, Sakura and Sasuke have been training all day while I've been helping your daughter cook and helping you build a bridge all day. It's time I got to it as well. Without another word, Naruto slid past Tezuna and bolted for the door. Be careful out there, Tsunami called from another room when she heard what he was planning. The door closed, leaving silence in Naruto's wake. Don't worry about Naruto, he'll be fine out there, as long as he doesn't overdo it. Kakashi glanced at the door. I hope he'll be alright out there. Naruto grinned as he formed the cross sign for his cage bunshin technique. The clearing that Sasuke and Sakura had been training in previously was suddenly full of grinning blondes garbed in black. The original Naruto stood in the middle of the large crowd, his face expressionless, eyes closed. Alright, time to increase the weights one more time. Naruto formed the ram seals as he felt the weights on his limbs pulse slightly. Just a bit heavier, he thought as he continued a slow and steady stream of chakra into the seals written on his weights. Opening his eyes, he cut off the flow of chakra and raised one of his arms. Not too bad. It'll require a bit more effort to move now. Without warning, 5 bunshin from the large army of Naruto's attacked him. Naruto jumped back as one of the bunshin's feet impacted the spot where Naruto had been, leaving a small yet noticeable crater. Showtime! The bunshin all yelled enthusiastically. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he dropped into a Goken pose. No bunshin for this fight, thought the original blonde. He threw himself towards the oncoming bunshin and began to throw his punches, not holding anything back. His first strike was avoided by the bunshin he was after, while another of the clones went for a roundhouse kick which was blocked by Naruto's forearm. Without a moment of hesitation, Naruto grabbed the leg of the clone and whirled around, using his momentum to hit one clone with the one he was holding. 2 puffs signified their defeat. From the group surrounding the fight, 4 more bunshin replaced the 2 that had been killed. Naruto focused chakra into the soles of his feet just like Sasuke had been doing all day and sped towards the new bunshin, deciding to forget the other 3 for the moment. Pulling out a kunai, he threw it at one bunshin's head only for a horde of shuriken to intercept the knife. Naruto jumped over the shuriken that were headed towards his own being and spun, avoiding a few kunai that had been thrown from behind him. Maybe I should have taken care of those first, Naruto thought to himself before focusing on his surroundings once again. Landing, Naruto was quickly met by 2 of the 7 bunshin. Gritting his teeth again, he began dodging and blocking strikes aimed to incapacitate him. Naruto then caught something as one of his clones went for a palm strike. Oh, he realized. Pushing himself to move quickly, he knocked the strike aside while lashing out with his foot at the bunshin behind him. Pulling a shuriken from his pouch, he flicked it right through the hole in his bunshin's form and struck him in the chest. The clone's eyes widened before puffing out of existence. All of the Narutos present widened their eyes when they received the information of their fallen brother. Once I'm done with this, I'll need to fix my form, Naruto thought as he filed it away mentally for later usage. Using this distraction, he spun around, withdrawing a kunai and slamming it into the clone behind him who was still processing his brother's memories. Hey, that's not fair, one clone yelled as the newest clone died. Grinning, Naruto threw the kunai at one of the other clones that was charging him. We're shinobi, we don't play fair. From the group, 4 more had joined the fray, once again replacing 2 fallen bunshin. Time to step up my game, Naruto announced as he charged the bunshin. He met the first bunshin within seconds, exchanging blows, neither of them gaining any ground while the other bunshin circled him, clearly strategizing. The clone swept at Naruto's feet, which Naruto avoided by cartwheeling over while withdrawing 3 shuriken. Landing on his feet, he twirled around and launched the shuriken and killed 3 of the bunshin before re-engaging with the first bunshin. While exchanging more strikes, 6 bunshin replaced the 3 dead bunshin. Duck, left, back, punch, block, grab, twirl. Naruto was on autopilot, thinking only his moves as he continued the struggle to gain ground on his counterpart. Pumping just a bit more chakra into his feet, he gained the upper hand, using a palm strike to snap the clone's head back, breaking its neck before it vanished in smoke. Without waiting for the smoke to clear, Naruto charged after the surrounding bunshin. Jumping forward and twisting in through the air, he withdrew a kunai from a bunshin's holster and used it to kill a bunshin just ahead of him. Throwing his hand out, he pushed off of the ground to barely avoid a torrent of water. Pulling out the big guns are we? He thought to himself as he began hand seals. Suddenly, a shuriken pierced his skull. Naruto's eyes widened before he transformed into a log. "Fuck, me!" exclaimed the owner of the shuriken. The original Naruto appeared behind the small group of Narutos that had been fighting against him. Eyes blazing with intensity, Naruto ran through the hand seals for one of his new fire-style jutsu, Katen Gakakyu no Jutsu. The clones widened their eyes as they whirled around to face their opponent, but it was too late. The enormous fireball engulfed the clones, incinerating them and even impacting on the awaiting clones before they could even react. The army of Narutos had finally decided to all react at the same time. Being charged by his remaining clones, Naruto readied himself. "Oh boy, kinda wish I hadn't increased the weights now." Springing into action, Naruto engaged 4 of his bunshin all at once. Under, left, block, push, punch, block, kick, evade, sweep, dodge, dodge, oh. Naruto winced as a kunai embedded itself in his leg. Falling to one knee, Naruto grabbed the kunai and pulled it out of his leg, watching the blood pour from the wound. Throwing it aside, he focused as much chakra as he could in his palm, contorting it, shaping it. Suten, Hahanryu. The water molecules in the air provided the resources for Naruto's jutsu, in conjunction with the large amount of chakra that he had poured into the jutsu. The results blew away any opposition in front of Naruto. The torrent of water tore through all of the bunshin that stood in its way and even created a large dent in the tree it struck. Wincing in pain thanks to his wounded leg, he jumped up and avoided a punch thrown by one of his bunshin. Fighting through the pain, Naruto sidestepped another strike while lashing out with his own fist, catching the clone in the cheek. Naruto had overlooked a clone to his left who caught him off guard and planted a foot in Naruto's stomach, launching him back through the air, winded. Naruto landed on the ground painfully but recovered by using the momentum to roll to a crouching position. Naruto panted and winced as he felt his leg throb painfully while a dull ache appeared in his stomach from the kick. "Fuck, I'm not in a good position here. I need to train more often like this." Naruto's eyes widened as 2 bunshins ran through the same set of hand seals. "Fuck," he exclaimed as he ran through his own, pouring more chakra than necessary into the jutsu. Futon Daidappa. Naruto swore as the clones performed a jutsu he had recently began working on. He wasn't through with his hand seals as he was struck by the devastating jutsu. Trees were torn apart and Naruto felt the winds cutting him slightly as he flew back. He didn't know how long he was caught in the jutsu for, but it probably wasn't as long as he perceived. The jutsu died down and Naruto hit the ground, skidding painfully to a stop. Gasping for the air that had been knocked out of him, Naruto could only think one thing. "That's a jutsu I need to perfect to use against Zabuza." Naruto sat up, wincing as his back popped painfully and his muscles screamed in pain. "Yeah, definitely would be useful to use against others in a fight." Limping forward, he shook his head and a few twigs fell out of his hair. Stretching a bit, he felt more joints pop than he felt should pop. "I'm lucky I wasn't impaled on some sharp branch." Looking forward, he saw a flurry of shuriken fly towards him. Flinging himself to the side, Naruto withdrew his own shuriken and targeted who had thrown them at him. "Gotcha," he thought as he located 12 bunshin burst through the trees, all of them wielding kunai. Naruto ran through the seals for the great fireball technique. Round 2 starts now. Sasuke woke up early that morning to find that the room he was supposed to be sharing with Naruto contained only him. Where the hell is the dobe? He wondered as he remembered he never heard him come in the night before. Standing up, he picked up his kunai holster that lay next to his futon along with his ninja pouch. He attached them and walked out of the room to head downstairs, where the smell of eggs wafted up and beckoned him. In the kitchen sat Kakashi, who was back to reading his orange book full of smut. Nodding to his sensei, he sat down at the table and grabbed a plate off the small stack for the guests. In the middle of the table was a platter of scrambled eggs, rice and toast. Shrugging at the odd combination, he helped himself to a decent portion before slowly eating. "Ready for another day of tree climbing?" Kakashi asked enthusiastically as he peered over the top of his book. Sasuke didn't bother answering or even glancing at his sensei. "I'll take that as a yes," Kakashi said as he resumed reading his book. "So where's Naruto?" Tazuna asked as he entered the room. "I didn't hear him come in last night." Kakashi lowered his book. "I'm sure he'll be fine. He may be the type to overdo it, but he won't be caught off guard. If he were in trouble, I'm sure he would send one of his clones to inform us." Tazuna grunted as he walked upstairs to retrieve something while Sasuke stopped eating for a moment. "You sure the dobe hasn't gotten himself killed?" he asked. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. "Worried about our maverick ninja, are we?" Sasuke turned and glared at his sensei. Chuckling, Kakashi went on reading while speaking to his student. "Naruto probably just tired himself out by training and just slept outside. I wouldn't worry about him." Sasuke sat for a moment before continuing with his meal. A few minutes later, Sakura emerged from upstairs, her hair combed and a fresh outfit on. "Morning," she grumbled. Kakashi waved nonchalantly as he continued reading his book. She sat down next to Sasuke, annoyingly close, and reached for her own plate. She only took a small amount, a look of sadness in her eyes as she did so. Sasuke raised an eye at this which Sakura caught out of the corner of her eye. She leaned over and whispered to him, "I'm guessing you haven't gone into town." Sasuke shook his head. Sakura sighed. "It's horrible. It's a dump. Gato really did a number on this place. People are on the streets, looking for work, starving. It's tragic. I just wish we could help them all. We are though," Sasuke whispered back. "By protecting Tazuna and helping him complete the bridge, we are helping this country." Sakura smiled softly. True. She then noticed just how close she was to Sasuke, the love of her life. Blushing, she mentally started cheering. Take that Ino pig, Shinero. She'll never be able to get this close to Sasuke-kun." The noise of the front door banging open scared Sakura as she jumped up out of her seat while Sasuke withdrew a kunai, expecting an assassin to have come for Tazuna. Here's our third member," Kakashi said as he turned a page. Sasuke relaxed when Kakashi said this, knowing that Kakashi wasn't easily fooled. He had definitely proven that a few days prior. However, Sasuke received a shock when a bloody and beaten Naruto staggered in the kitchen. He noticed that he was limping slightly and he was holding his right arm. His eye was swollen as if he'd been hit there repeatedly and dried blood littered his outfit. "What the hell happened to you, Naruto?" Sakura exclaimed when she saw the blonde. "Oh, nothing. Do I smell eggs?" he asked weakly as he sat down at the table next to Kakashi, who laid a plate in front of his student. The plate was already loaded with at least 2 portions of eggs, rice, and toast. "Thanks," was all Naruto said before devouring his meal in the blink of an eye. "How was training?" Kakashi asked as he read a particularly explicit scene, causing him to blush slightly and suppress a giggle. Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened when they heard him ask about training. As soon as Naruto swallowed, he looked over at Kakashi. "I've definitely got a lot of work to do. Found a ton of holes in my taijutsu that I need to fix, and evading some jutsu would help. I need to work on my hand seal speed to get through jutsu faster as well as building up chakra." Kakashi nodded as he turned the page again while Sasuke listened intently to Naruto's assessment of the various things that needed to be improved. Chakra control can always be better, and distinguishing between different chakra signatures. Kakashi stopped reading at this while Naruto continued on with his list. He can sense chakra signatures at his age. "Naruto," Kakashi interrupted. Naruto stopped speaking and looked at Kakashi in confusion. "You can sense chakra signatures?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah, when they're close enough I can sense who it is and all. But when I'm against a bunch of people, their chakra just seems to blend together and become indistinguishable." Kakashi rubbed his chin as he thought. "So, Naruto has sensory abilities. I could try and get an ANBU to try teaching him a bit more when we get back to Konoha. But I think for now, Naruto should focus on his combat skills. He's already developing well without assistance. I may as well see how he does with developing that." "Well, it seems you have a special skill, Naruto. Having sensory-type abilities makes you one of few shinobi." Naruto's expression turned from tired to joyous at this news. "Although, you definitely need refining on it. Most sensory-type shinobi can sense other chakra signatures from a distance, and some of the more talented can sense whether they're human or not." Naruto listened attentively, not wanting to miss any information on what he may be able to do at one point. "For now, keep up the training as you see fit. If I see that those sensory abilities are not improving much, I can get one of my associates from ANBU to help you out." Naruto gave Kakashi a wide grin. "Thanks a ton, sensei." Sasuke glared at the blonde at this revelation. Every day, something else is revealed about this dobe. He's better than I've given him credit for. Sakura was in slight disbelief at the moment. Naruto is a unique type of shinobi. Sensory. What the hell is going on? He used to be the talentless dobe of the academy and now he's teaching Sasuke and I things and helping Kakashi fight Jonin-level missing nins. Without a word, Sasuke wheeled around and left the house, intent on finishing the chakra control exercise. Sakura remained where she was, listening to Naruto and Kakashi talk to each other. "What else do you think you need to work on?" Kakashi asked. "Well, stealth I'm alright on currently. I've been able to avoid ANBU and mobs since I was a small child." Kakashi glanced at Sakura quickly before returning his gaze to Naruto. "Mobs?" Sakura wondered. "More ninjutsu never hurt anybody," Naruto added. Kakashi chuckled at that. "It doesn't matter how many jutsu you have at your disposal. A man with 1,000 jutsu can be killed with a well-aimed kunai," Kakashi said wisely. Naruto shrugged as he laid his head on the table. "Yeah, but having a few more jutsu doesn't hurt my chances." Kakashi said nothing. After all, he was the man that had copied over 1,000 jutsu. He really wasn't one to talk. "Wait, you got like this from training?" Sakura asked incredulously. Naruto nodded. "Yeah, just got into a no-holds fight with about 200 Kage Bunshin." Not only did Sakura's eyes widen, but Kakashi stared at Naruto, one visible eye slightly widened in surprise. "Never ceases to amaze me," Kakashi simply thought as he resumed his novel. Sasuke dropped from the tree, kunai in hand. "This is getting redundant," Sasuke thought to himself as he looked at the tall tree in front of him. He decided on using a new tree and to track that specific day's progress. Gritting his teeth, he focused chakra into the soles of his feet until he felt comfortable. Without another thought, he ran for the tree and rocketed up the towering monument of nature. He reached where his last mark was when he felt himself starting to slip yet again. Damn it, he growled as he pushed himself a few feet further from his last mark. Feeling gravity begin to pull him back towards the ground, he used the kunai to slash the bark. He landed cat-like on the ground and looked back up at the newest slash in the bark. At least I'm making progress, Sasuke thought with a slight grin before continuing on. Naruto was sound asleep, and already looking better than he had earlier that day. Sakura sighed as she closed his bedroom door and went back downstairs. It wasn't her choice to check up on Naruto, but Tezuna's and Kakashi's. It seemed that Tezuna was going to take Naruto with him today and Sakura would be stuck with Kakashi, waiting for Sasuke to finish training. She reached the kitchen to find it empty. Frowning, she went to the next room where she found Tezuna reading over Kakashi's shoulder. I always did find these books to be interesting. Tsunami, however, would always find the book no matter where I hid and she would always get rid of it. I never got past the part where they start to. At this point Sakura coughed loudly to interrupt the old man before she heard anything too horrific. Plus, it helped announce her presence, but it was mostly for the former reason. Naruto is still sound asleep, she said. Good. When he wakes up, he'll probably want to start training as soon as he can. Too bad, Kakashi said as he continued on with his book. Why is he training so hard? She asked suddenly. She watched Kakashi, expecting him to say something along the lines of oh he's just being a boy, or something close to that. The answer she received scared her senseless. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk to you and Sasuke about that. Well, Naruto wants to be ready when he fights Zabuza and that hunter Nin when they come after us. Sakura chuckled, not fully comprehending what Kakashi had just told her while Tezuna looked horrified. Suddenly, the statement hit Sakura like a brick wall. Wait, isn't Zabuza dead though? She asked quickly. Kakashi shook his head. I doubt it. As Naruto and I both figured out, Hunter Nin from Kirigakure are supposed to only take the head of the victim back with them to prove that the nuke Nin has been taken care of. This Hunter Nin decided to take the entire body with him while procedure says to take the head and burn the body where it fell. Sakura's eyes widened. So the Hunter Nin was in league with Zabuza? She asked fearfully. Kakashi nodded. Like I told Naruto, I should have checked for a pulse, although I doubt I would have found one. Why not? Tezuna asked. It was Sakura that answered the old man as she realized what Kakashi had meant. Senbon needles. They struck Zabuza in the neck and I remember reading somewhere that if you strike someone in a specific nerve, that it will put that person in a death-like state. Kakashi nodded. The boy was good. That's why Naruto is training. The boy was probably trained by Zabuza, who is an extremely powerful shinobi that shows no mercy. Then why am I not training? Sakura asked Kakashi angrily. Kakashi looked over at her blankly before answering in a simple tone. Naruto is training of his own accord and Sasuke is still trying to get through the training you've completed. I would suggest that you train when you can, but it's ultimately up to the shinobi or kunoichi to train themselves. Sakura had the decency to blush at this statement as Kakashi returned to reading his smut. Naruto woke after about 10 hours of sleep. From the position of the sun, Naruto could tell that evening was approaching and that he had just missed an entire day. Groaning, Naruto sat up on his futon and surveyed the room. Next to him were his clothes that he had trained in the night before. They had been washed, but there were a few holes and tears from the harsh fighting he had endured. Shrugging, Naruto shed his pajamas and threw the clothes on. He walked towards the door before realizing something. Where the hell is my jacket? He thought back for a moment before remembering that he had left it in the kitchen when he had left. Smiling in relief, he walked out of the room and downstairs. Welcome to the land of the living, Kakashi's voice rang from the other room. Looking around the kitchen that he had entered, he tried to locate his jacket. It's not in here, he thought angrily. Kakashi, Naruto called as he exited the kitchen and entered the room. Kakashi was seated along with Sakura and Tezuna. Inari sat in the corner, looking out the window wistfully. Do you know where my jacket is? He asked. Right here, Tsunami said as she entered the room as well. She held his jacket up and handed it to him. I just found it in the kitchen and thought you might like it if I washed it. Naruto bowed to the woman. Thanks, Tsunami-san, but you really didn't have to. Tsunami smiled at the genin. It's a small way to repay you for protecting my father. Tezuna interrupted any reply Naruto had in store. So, Naruto, will you be able to come and help out at the bridge tomorrow? Your clones really did help make some progress the other day. Naruto smiled. Sure, it's no problem. I get to learn about construction that way. Make any progress today? Tezuna shook his head. I didn't go today. I was hoping to take you again. With you on board, we could finish the bridge completely in 2 weeks. Naruto gave Tezuna a thumbs up. Well, I'll be sure to help out tomorrow. Tezuna laughed enthusiastically at this. Sakura said nothing as she remembered how much help Naruto had been the other day at the bridge. Flashback. Naruto, Sakura, and Tezuna walked through the small streets of the town. This place is a dump, Naruto thought as he looked at the empty, broken-down buildings. A stranger or two would eye the group hungrily before scurrying off from the glare Naruto gave them. At one point, Naruto deemed it necessary to hold a kunai in plain view when one man had attempted to take something from Sakura's pouch. He had ultimately failed and accidentally brushed against her ass, setting her off in a violent tantrum that had left the poor soul bloody and beaten. Naruto grinned at that. Sometimes, Sakura can really pack a wallop. They reached the beginning of the construction site where rusted cranes were in use. There were many men there, carrying various objects from wood to concrete slabs. Tazuna continued through the mess of a construction. It seems unorganized, but we're making terrific progress. Tazuna yelled over a drilling noise. Naruto nodded. How long have you been building? He asked, yelled. About 3 months, answered the old man. Naruto's eyebrows rose. That's impressive. I may not know much about construction, but the gap between the Land of Fire and Nami no Kuni is pretty large. How much longer do you think until it'll be finished? Naruto asked. I'd say a month or 2 at this rate. Tazuna yelled as the drilling noise ceased. Naruto thought for a moment as they continued on. Want to cut that time in half? He asked with a devilish grin plastered on his face. How? Tazuna asked. I've seen what these shinobi can do, and I'm not going to disregard their advice, thought the old man as he remembered the sheer power behind the fight with Zabuza. Grinning like a maniac, Naruto formed the cross seal. Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu. A few men that were walking by dropped the items that they were carrying when a large army of blondes appeared in front of them. Manual labor is my specialty, Naruto exclaimed loudly as the Bunshin cheered around them. Tazuna's eyes were popping out of his head and his jaw had dropped. It took him a few minutes to recover and a Naruto shaking him gently. Tazuna-san, are you alright? Naruto asked worriedly. What? Oh, yes, I definitely could use you and your. Just call them clones, Naruto said. Tazuna nodded as he glanced at the many Narutos. This boy is a miracle, thought the middle-aged man. Flashback ends. So where's Sasuke team? Naruto asked cheekily. Tazuna suppressed a chuckle while Tsunami glared slightly at the blonde. Oh, he's still out there training, I believe, Kakashi said as he flipped through his book. Naruto nodded as he put his jacket on. Well, I guess I'll go out and drag him back, Naruto said as he walked towards the front door. You going to train tonight? Asked the silver-haired Jonin. Naruto shrugged. I may as well if we're going to fight Zabuza again. I want to be prepared. Just don't overdo it again. Kakashi sighed. Naruto grinned. I'll try not to. Naruto walked out of the house and felt a cool breeze hit his face. I really do like the smell of the ocean wafting on the breeze, Naruto thought serenely. Naruto then ran forward before jumping into the trees and using the branches to travel faster than if he walked. He leapt from branch to branch, barely making any noise as he did so. He looked over at the sun that approached the western horizon. About another 2 hours of sunlight. Yippee, he thought to himself. Team had better be where he was last night if he knows what is best. Another minute or 2 of tree hopping, he found the clearing where they had all been training and sure enough, there was an exhausted Uchiha. Naruto landed next to the crouching raven-haired genin. How's the progress? Naruto asked as he looked at one of the trees. I made it to the top, Sasuke panted. Naruto nodded. Nice. How long ago? He asked. About 2 hours ago, answered the Uchiha. Naruto smiled. Yeah, you definitely got it faster than I did. I'm guessing you're trying it by just walking now. Sasuke nodded. I need to get stronger. Naruto glanced at Sasuke. I'm guessing for revenge against your brother, Itachi, right? Sasuke seemed to gain a second wind. For the moment Itachi's name came escaped from Naruto's lips, he was attacking Naruto. Naruto jumped back, barely avoiding Sasuke's fist. Naruto narrowed his eyes. What the fuck was that for? Sasuke panted as he clenched his fist, a trickle of blood appearing and leaking from his hand. How do you know about that? Sasuke asked. Naruto stared at Sasuke. It's not really a big secret about how your clan was killed, Sasuke. The big hint was the day we first met as a team. You stated you wanted to kill a certain man and I can easily guess who that man is. Sasuke gritted his teeth. I need to get stronger. Sasuke looked Naruto straight in the eye, fire behind his eyes. Naruto grinned. Determination is one of the best tools a shinobi can have. That's what a friend of mine once told me. Sasuke looked up at Naruto. I was told that hatred was a shinobi's greatest way of becoming strong. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that. Who the hell told you that? He asked curiously. Sasuke's mind seemed to drift off, thinking of the past, the moment he had heard those words. Sasuke. Naruto snapped his fingers in front of the Uchiha's face, bringing him back to reality. Him, he said simply. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. You mean your brother? Sasuke nodded. Naruto stayed silent at this answer. Why did he tell you that? He told me, in order to become strong enough to face him, to kill him, that I would need hatred. Naruto shook his head. That doesn't really sound true to me. Sasuke looked up at Naruto. The blonde was the first person he had told this, and he didn't know what had urged him to inform Naruto of what his brother had said, but he felt compelled. Yet, here he was, countering Itachi's advice that he had given him. How would you know? Sasuke said heatedly. Naruto sat down and patted the ground in front of him. Sasuke hesitated, but sat down nonetheless. Think about all of the greatest shinobi from the Hidden Leaf. The 4 Hokages, for example. All of them were peace-loving individuals. I've never heard of any of them using hatred to gain power, and they were some of the most powerful shinobi of all time. Sasuke raised his eyebrows in surprise. He does have a point. Naruto continued on. Plus, who's to say Itachi used hatred to get to his level? He may be strong, but is he as strong as the Sannin or the Yondaime? Sasuke pondered on Naruto's words for a bit before Naruto stood up. I'm going back to Tazuna's, and you should come too. One last thing though. If Itachi killed your whole clan, do you really think he wants you to become strong enough to kill him of something? He probably told you that whole hatred crap to hinder you. Just saying. Sasuke's eye widened. That's possible. Why would he want me to kill him? He's evil enough to do that. Gritting his teeth at how gullible he had been, he stood up just as Naruto began walking away. Looking at the blonde, he continued wondering. Naruto has been getting stronger at an amazing rate. He isn't using his hatred to get stronger, just determination. Sasuke turned and looked at the tree he had scaled. I will get stronger, Itachi, just not the way you think. With that thought, he followed Naruto back to the house. The following morning found Sakura watching as Sasuke nodded a greeting to Naruto, which was politely returned. Said incident caused Sakura's jaw to drop. They're friends. How the hell did that happen? Naruto sat down, no words exchanged as he grabbed some breakfast consisting of cooked fish and rice. Kakashi smiled behind his book at the two male genin and their new interactions. It seems as if the teamwork of Squad 7 may improve, he thought to himself with a chuckle. The genin ignored Kakashi's chuckle as they had become accustomed to his perverted reading, which entailed chuckling and giggling at seemingly random moments. Finishing his meal, Naruto stood up. Where are you going? Kakashi asked as he looked over at the blonde genin. Just some light training. You three can come with if you want, he suggested with a hopeful smile. Kakashi shook his head. I'll be all right. I'm still recovering, and if I know Guy, you've probably picked up some of his habits that don't involve his dress code. Naruto pouted. What's so bad about how the dress? Kakashi actually set his book on the table and glared at Naruto. I'm not going to go into extreme detail here, but no student of mine shall ever wear those monstrosities. Naruto sighed. Fine. Sasuke, Sakura. Either of you two want to go for some light training? Sasuke shrugged as he stood up, his meal finished. May as well. Sakura hesitated for a moment before leaping to her feet. Same here. Naruto grinned. All right. Hope you two can keep up then. Sasuke grinned. After all, light training was always easy, right? Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.